It itself contained the power of the sun, which was extremely young. Thus, it possessed the mighty power to suppress countless fiend gods in hell. It traversed the heavens and became the lord of fiend gods in hell. If the golden crow is the son of the human world, then the golden crow of hell is the son of hell, spanning across the 9 hells of hell and the 6 paths of reincarnation. Because it is formed from the fusion of 9 suns, the power of the infernal golden crow is countless times more terrifying. Once it is born, it will possess world-destroying might. This kind of bloodline cannot be allowed to exist in the world, and will suffer the wrath of the heavens. Xia Ping was very moved. This bloodline was definitely an incredible treasure. He didn't know how much hatred it was worth. He didn't expect it to be given as a big gift by the system. It was really unimaginable. It must be known that the 3-eyed wolf bloodline, once activated, has dozens of times more combat power than ordinary people. This is the benefit of the king's bloodline. It can have all kinds of martial arts supernatural powers and suppress many martial arts experts. If he also inherited the infernal golden crow bloodline, it would definitely increase his combat power and become more powerful. He felt that the system seemed to be promoting his growth step by step. Whenever he reached a certain level, he would be given all kinds of powerful treasures to speed up his cultivation. What will happen if I inherit it now? Xia Ping asked. The system said, the host will sleep for 7 days and 7 nights until the body is completely transformed. Can I merge it later? Xia Ping was a little helpless. After all, there were still a few days before the cloud and mist mountain range would close. He couldn't sleep for 7 days and 7 nights at this time. If he was locked in the cloud and mist mountain range, he would be finished. Yes. The system said. Xia Ping nodded. By the way, help me exchange for the 3rd level of the 7 arrows technique and the dark north body protection technique. He has been promoted to the martial master realm and is qualified to practice the 3rd level of these 2 divine skills. Okay, each skill costs 500,000 hate points, a total of 1 million. The system said. It deducted 1 million hate points from Xia Ping at once. And now he only has more than 5 million hate points left. Crash! At this time, the system immediately instilled in, about the dark north body protection technique and the 3rd level of the 7 arrows technique, a large number of graphic information immediately poured into Xia Ping's mind. So this is the 3rd level of the dark north body protection technique. Xia Ping suddenly realized that he felt that his dark north body protection technique had now entered the 3rd level, and his qigong vibrated and immediately formed a transparent protective shield. Chapter 420. Bang! In a cave in the Cloud Mist Mountain Range, a figure broke out of the cave. The surrounding rocks cracked and a terrifying aura of a ferocious beast filled the air, shaking the forest. This person is Xia Ping. After 3 days and 3 nights of cultivation, he finally completely mastered the head-piercing 7 arrows technique and the 3rd level of the dark north body protection technique, which also greatly increased his strength. Even after taking the many pills obtained from Ye Zhen and the others, he has opened 4 meridians in succession. Now he has opened a total of 8 meridians. He still needs to open 4 meridians before he can reach the peak of the 1st heaven of Martial Master. Boom! Xia Ping punched through the air and smashed towards a small mountain in the distance. The fist force vibrated and instantly pierced through the small mountain, creating a big hole. He stomped hard and with a boom, his whole body jumped into the air, jumping 100 meters high. 3 or 4 terrifying cracks immediately appeared on the ground and the earth trembled. These cracks stretched for 2 or 3 kilometers, and even a small mountain in the distance was about to split open. Now, Xia Ping has the power to smash a ferocious beast into minced meat. A casual punch has the strength of hundreds of thousands of kilograms. It can be said that he himself is a ferocious beast. Moreover, his mental power had also covered a kilometer. Everything within a kilometer radius was under his mental power's perception. Not even the slightest bit of movement could hide from him. Even if it is a 3rd heaven of Martial Master, he can probably match it now. With a bang, Xia Ping fell to the ground and immediately smashed out a deep pit with a diameter of tens of meters. People within a few kilometers can hear this terrifying vibration. There seems to be the smell of spiritual medicine. Xia Ping's nose twitched slightly. He can feel a trace of the smell of spiritual medicine coming from a few kilometers away. Although the water of life in the Cloud Mist Mountain Range is the most precious, it does not mean that there are no other treasures that can compare to the water of life, such as some precious spiritual medicine. If used properly, the value of those spiritual medicine is no less than the water of life. Because of this, even if many students know that they can't get the water of life, they still hope to stay in the Cloud Mist Mountain Range and find all kinds of treasures. After all, this is a rare opportunity. There are not many places like this where they can pick spiritual medicine at will. All such spiritual lands are either occupied by ferocious beasts or become the territory of mighty figures. Ordinary martial artists have no chance at all. Whoosh! Xia Ping's silhouette flickered as he executed the Kuan Ping steps, manipulating the air currents and gliding rapidly. In just a few breaths of time, he arrived at a lake and saw a silver lotus growing at the edge of the lake. This lotus swayed in the water, emitting a faint silver light. The air was also filled with an enchanting medicinal fragrance, causing people to become restless. No matter how one looked at it, this was a precious spirit medicine. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At the same time, dozens of students ran over from afar. They seemed to have been attracted by the fragrance as well. They were extremely fast and arrived at the lake one after another. The fragrance of spiritual herbs and the appearance of treasures. There are indeed spiritual herbs here. Great, my God, if I'm not mistaken, this is the 100-year moon heart lotus. We're rich. It's said that this kind of spirit herb is born from the yin energy of heaven and earth and absorbs the essence of the moon. It takes 100 years for it to completely take shape. Its medicinal power is extremely strong and rare in the world. Although this kind of 100-year moon heart lotus is a little inferior to the water of life, it can still be considered a precious treasure. We've been working hard in the Cloud Mountain Range for so long, it's time for us to obtain the treasure. Many students were discussing spiritedly. Their faces were filled with excitement as they looked at the moon heart lotus at the edge of the lake with fiery eyes. There were immediately people who wanted to take action and pick this moon heart lotus. Junior Su, I feel that this moon heart lotus is very suitable for you. Why don't I pick it and give it to you? The person who spoke was Mu Haoran. He revealed a generous look. However, those with discerning eyes could see that this kid wanted to pursue Su Ji. However, not only Mu Haoran, the group of guys around him also looked at Su Ji with fiery eyes because Su Ji's charm was really too moving. Wearing a white dress, her figure was exquisite, her pair of big eyes seemed to be able to speak, and her body emitted an otherworldly aura, like a fairy. It was estimated that not many people could resist her charm. At this moment, she had already advanced to the 9th heaven of martial disciple realm. The bloodline in her body seemed to have been further developed and already had a trace of the embryonic form of a beauty that could bring disaster to a country. Once she advanced to the martial master realm and activated the demon fox bloodline, she would really be a beauty that could cause the downfall of a city. She could casually wave her finger and charm a group of people, regardless of gender or age. Senior Mu, this isn't too good. The moon heart lotus is a treasure that everyone found together, it should be shared with everyone. Su Ji rolled her eyes and revealed a trace of craftiness. In the air, there seemed to be an unknown ripple that swept in all directions. It contained a strange power that seeped into the hearts of the students present, making it impossible for them to detect it. No. Other than Junior Su, no one else has the qualifications to possess this kind of 100-year moon heart lotus. As the saying goes, a treasured sword should be given to a hero and a beautiful woman should be given to a beautiful woman. Don't you guys agree? Mu Haoran cried out, he was immediately bewitched by it. Yes. The 100-year moon heart lotus belongs to Junior Mu. I will fight with whoever dares to snatch it from her. We have plenty of treasures. The 100-year moon heart lotus is nothing. Don't be so polite with me. If you continue to be so polite, we will fight with you. The group of students' faces turned red as if they were injected with chicken blood. They shouted loudly and wished that they could immediately jump into a sea of fire for Su Ji. Junior Su, don't be anxious. I will help you pick the 100-year moon heart lotus. A few students shouted. They were the ones who took action. After saying that, they wanted to walk towards the lake. However, Xia Ping stood out and blocked in front of these students. There's someone here. At this time, the group of students noticed that someone had already arrived at the lake. They were immediately shocked. It can't be. Isn't that guy Xia Ping? Why is he here? Someone immediately recognized the person who appeared in front of them. It was the famous Xia Ping. After all, this guy was an influential person in Yanhuang University. They would recognize him even if he turned into ashes. Holy crap! Why did the scourge Xia Ping appear here? After entering the Cloud Mist mountain range, this guy disappeared. He didn't cause any trouble. I thought he was dead. How could he be dead? Good people don't live long, but scourges live for 1,000 years. How could this guy die so easily? It's good that he didn't die. It's time for us to take our revenge. Outside, we are still Martial 9th layer. Now, all of us have advanced to Martial Master. Our strength is more than 10 times stronger. This time, we must beat the shit out of this guy. The heavens have eyes. They gave us the chance to meet this damned scourge Xia Ping. He deserves our revenge. If this isn't retribution, then what is it? Even the heavens want to deal with him. When Mu Haoran and the others saw Xia Ping appear, they all seemed to be injected with chicken blood. They even completely ignored Su Ji's charm. They clenched their teeth and stared at Xia Ping, wishing they could tear him into pieces. Su Ji's face was filled with hatred. She clenched her teeth in anger. All her efforts were wasted. If she continued, the 100-year moon heart lotus would definitely be hers. Now, it was blocked. Chapter 421. Hey, isn't this the president of the Kendo Club, Mu Haoran? Xia Ping also recognized Mu Haoran and greeted him enthusiastically. I haven't seen you for a long time. I didn't expect you to be so energetic. I haven't seen you advance to the Martial Master realm for 3 years. Now you actually advanced. Did you take drugs? Take your ass. Mu Haoran's face turned green. He couldn't help but clench his fists. He stayed in the martial artist 9th layer for 3 years on purpose. His purpose was to enter the Cloud Mountain range. Now that he entered the Cloud Mountain range, he naturally didn't need to suppress his cultivation and immediately broke through to the Martial Master realm. But in this bastard's mouth, he became a loser who relied on drugs to advance. He was clearly mocking him. This was a slap in his face in front of everyone. Hey, isn't this the president of the Saber Club, Zhu Zijian? I didn't expect you to come too. Xia Ping ignored Mu Haoran and greeted Zhu Zijian. You look like a dog now. Why didn't you greet me just now? Could it be that you've become arrogant after you advanced to the Martial Master realm and started to look down on everyone? Arrogant my ass. Zhu Zijian's mouth twitched. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. He was indignant. Why do I have to greet such a shameless and despicable person? He didn't greet me, and this guy said that I became arrogant. Why? I have never seen such sarcasm. I kind of wanted to punch this guy's face. Enough. Su Ji couldn't stand it anymore. If this continued, someone might get a heart attack because of this bastard Xia Ping. What's wrong with you? Do you want to fight with us? She glared at Xia Ping. Not really. Xia Ping waved his hand. It's just that I'm very excited after not seeing you for a long time. Actually, I want to bury the hatchet. Su Ji's mouth twitched. You bastard, are you trying to bury the hatchet by saying these words? Clearly, you want to continue to pick a fight. Bury your ass. Muharan roared, last time you beat us up so badly. You even beat up my entire club. We became the laughingstock of the entire Yanhuang University. You still want to bury the hatchet with us? If we don't flip out, do you really fucking think that honest people like us have no temper? He cursed at Xia Ping. Why bother? Xia Ping said earnestly, as the saying goes, no discord, no concord. Men's friendship begins here. Although we have many conflicts before, there is no conflict that can't be solved. Settle my ass. Zhu Zijin also scolded loudly, are you afraid now that you've advanced to the martial master realm? I'm telling you, it's too late. It's too late, you know. Previously, we begged you to bury the hatchet, but that's not what you said. You even beat us up and sent us to the hospital for a few days. We were in so much pain that our hearts were torn apart. Now you know fear. Let me tell you, this matter isn't that easy to solve. He stared at Xia Ping coldly. Why are you talking nonsense with this fellow? Let's beat him up first. I clearly remember the way this bastard beat me up. It was so painful that I cried for 3 days and 3 nights. God has eyes, finally giving me the chance to take revenge. I will definitely cherish it. Everyone, don't be too heavy-handed. Leave some for everyone. 1 punch per person is enough. Enough my ass, we must beat him until he can't take care of himself. Many students stared at Xia Ping, each of them gnashing their teeth, wanting to beat Xia Ping up. Su Ji was completely speechless. How hateful is this kid? Everyone wants to beat him up, but no one has a friendly attitude towards Xia Ping. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. As soon as the voice fell, 3 first-layer martial master students jumped out. They simply couldn't stand Xia Ping for a second. In an instant, they attacked. Their fists were like tigers, powerful and heavy. In a triangular formation, the 3 surrounded Xia Ping. They must not let Xia Ping escape. Scram! Seeing this, Xia Ping immediately attacked. He struck out with his palm. The tyrannical palm energy vibrated, spreading in all directions. Even the air was condensed into a solid vibration. With a bang, the 3 students who wanted to attack Xia Ping were immediately sent flying like rubber balls. They flew for a full kilometer before crashing into a big tree and stopping. With a few cracking sounds, the big tree was immediately smashed into several pieces, producing a large amount of sawdust. Ah! They couldn't help but let out a blood-curdling scream, fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth, and actually fainted. What? Seeing this scene, Muharan and the others were dumbfounded. Although these students were ordinary martial masters, no matter how ordinary they were still martial masters. This kind of person had already completely grasped true essence. They could use water as a sword and condense chi into a saber. Their attack power was more than several times that of a martial master. They could defeat dozens of martial masters with their bare hands. But what exactly was going on now? The 3 martial masters joined hands, but they were sent flying by Xia Ping's casual palm strike. They even fainted. They simply couldn't withstand this kid's palm strike. It was too exaggerated. Martial Master Realm? Su Ji's beautiful eyes widened as she stared at Xia Ping. No way, did you advance to the Martial Master Realm? She couldn't believe her eyes, but the aura that Xia Ping revealed just now and the move he used was clearly a true essence attack. If he wasn't a true Martial Master Realm, it would be impossible to display such a powerful move and such a terrifying attack power. The problem was that not long ago, this kid was only a Martial Master 7th Heaven or 8th Heaven, but now he had advanced to the Martial Master Realm. The speed of his progress was too incredible. That's right, I have been promoted to the Martial Master Realm for a long time. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, his clothes fluttering without any wind. He exuded a trace of the aura of a martial Dao master, looking down on the world. Impossible! A student couldn't help but scream, we have worked hard and spent God knows how long to be promoted to the Martial Master Realm. You are just a new student who has just entered the school, and you are from planet Yanhuang. How can you improve so fast? What did you do? He thought that even if he cultivated evil martial arts, it was impossible to cultivate so fast. Could it be that you didn't appear during this period of time because you had a fortuitous encounter and ate some kind of precious elixir, which greatly increased your strength and broke through to the martial master realm? Zhu Zijian couldn't help but speculate. Everyone also couldn't help but nod. This was the closest to the truth of the matter. If it wasn't for a fortuitous encounter and the extremely precious elixir, it would be impossible to improve so fast. Chapter 422. Thinking of this possibility, Muharin and the others felt extremely aggrieved. They had endured a lot of hardships and endured for a long time to achieve what they had today. Furthermore, after entering the Cloud Mountain range, they had experienced a lot, spent a lot of energy, encountered dangers, and searched for treasures. However, they did not gain much. However, this brat casually entered the Cloud Mountain range and obtained treasures. He even broke through to the martial master realm and was on equal footing with the older students. Even if this brat did not obtain the water of life, obtaining the mysterious spirit herb was more than enough. None of your business. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and said indifferently, "Let's be honest. The reason why I have my current cultivation is all because of hard work. Training in the winter and training in the summer, I rely on hard work. I definitely did not take any shortcuts. As for obtaining fortuitous encounters, obtaining spirit herbs or secret treasures, there is absolutely no such thing. Bullshit, continue bullshit." Su Ji and the others looked at Xia Ping with disdain. If there was no fortuitous encounter or precious spirit herb, even a genius would not be able to improve so quickly. Did this bastard really think that martial arts cultivation was something that could be improved just because he wanted to? Only fools from the mental hospital would believe this guy's words. Without a doubt, this bastard must have gotten his hands on some extremely precious spiritual medicine to be able to have the cultivation he has today. The reason why he said this now was probably because he was afraid that others would target the treasures on him, so he purposely said that he did not obtain any spirit herbs. They all saw through this guy's cunning mind. Sticking up his tail, they all knew whether this guy was taking a dump or a piss. Bullshit luck. Thinking of this, Zhu Zijian and the others secretly cursed. They were so jealous that their intestines turned green. The difference between people was too big. It was almost unimaginable. How could this despicable, shameless, bully bastard find a 1,000-year-old spirit herb and obtain a fortuitous encounter when he went out? How could he find a powerful martial inheritance from an old grandpa when he fell off a cliff? Honest people like them who cultivated honestly and were good people didn't get any treasures at all. The heavens were really too unfair and unreasonable. They cursed Xia Ping in their hearts for being struck by lightning. It would be unreasonable if such a person did not get struck by lightning when he went out. Cut the crap. Xia Ping stared at Muharin and the others. He clenched his fists and said, "Earlier, all of you were very arrogant. You were shouting that you wanted to kill me. You even said that you wanted to teach me a lesson. You beat me up until I couldn't take care of myself. What do you guys think? How do we solve this?" He stared at Muharin and the others viciously. When Muharin and the others heard these words, their faces turned pale. Only now did they remember that this fellow had already advanced to the martial master realm. His strength was many times stronger than before. Just now, when 3 martial masters made a move, they were all sent flying by this brat with a single slap, unable to take care of themselves. This brat was extremely strong, he was definitely a ferocious beast. One could imagine that this fellow's strength had increased tremendously. When he was in school, he was only a martial artist 8th heaven, but he was already able to do as he pleased. Now that he had advanced to the martial master realm, wouldn't he be able to defy the heavens? Probably none of the people present were a match for him. Even if they attacked together, they would not be suppressed. Haha, Junior Xia, we were actually just joking earlier. After all, we are all classmates of Yanhuang University. We have the friendship of being classmates. Why would we shout that we wanted to kill you? We even shouted that we would make you unable to take care of yourself. Muharan tried to bluff his way out of this. That's right, that's right. This matter is purely a misunderstanding. We are all classmates of Yanhuang University. There is no hatred between us. Why must we be so fixated on what is in front of us? There are no eternal enemies in this world. Everything can be solved through discussion. After all, this is a harmonious society. Why don't we take advantage of this time to bury the hatchet? This is good, this is good. I think it is time to stop the conflict. As the saying goes, no discord, no concord, no love. In the future, we will be close brothers. Many students started shouting, wanting to dissolve the hatred between them and Xiaoping and become close brothers. Su Ji's expression was strange. Once upon a time, these people were shouting that they wanted to kill Xiaoping and take revenge. It was as if they had an irreconcilable hatred with Xiaoping and would not rest until one of them was dead. Now that they saw Xiaoping advance to the martial master realm, all of them were terrified and wanted to bury the hatchet. There was no other way. Previously, when they advanced to the martial master realm, their strength increased greatly. They thought that they could crush Xiaoping. However, who would have thought that Xiaoping was so abnormal? He was completely unreasonable and broke through at the drop of a hat. It could be said that Xiaoping had already soared to the sky. In the future, he would definitely be outstanding. If they continued to fight, they would be at a disadvantage. If they did not admit defeat now, when would they admit defeat? As the saying goes, a wise man does not fight when the odds are against him. Although they were all proud and arrogant, they were not fools. Chapter 424. Ha! This feeling. Xia Ping's eyes flashed. He sensed that his true essence had invaded the bodies of many students. A trace of true essence contained his own spiritual power. He could sense every movement of the other party's qigong. It seemed that true essence was a living power. As long as he moved his mind, he could immediately detonate this true essence and blow these students into pieces. Oh, you want me to stop? Xia Ping smiled at Muharan and others. Weren't you guys still being stubborn just now? It's impossible for you to bow your heads. It didn't take long for you to bow your heads, surrender, and beg me for mercy. This. Muharan and the others were extremely aggrieved. Xia Ping's words made them want to immediately bury their heads in the depths of the ground. This was really too shameful. It was clearly a slap to their faces, and it was a slap to death. But now their lives and even their futures were still in the hands of Xia Ping. As long as Xia Ping had a little bad intention, they would be dead. Even if they could survive, their martial arts would be crippled and they would have no future in this life. Although they also had a powerful family standing behind them, these families had countless descendants, and they were not the only ones. If they were crippled, there were plenty of people who could replace them. Even if they could retaliate afterwards and make Xia Ping unlucky, it would be useless. They would become cripples for the rest of their lives. No amount of money could exchange for that. They didn't dare to bet that Xia Ping would not dare to make a move. After all, this kid was simply a madman. He could even sweep away countless martial arts clubs in Yanhuang University and offend all the students. What else couldn't he do? They didn't have the guts to bet their futures and lives that Xia Ping would not dare to make a move. I'm sorry, we were wrong, really wrong. Please forgive us. We actually dared to have the idea of dealing with Lord Xia. We are simply beasts. It's just 100,000 points. We'll pay for it immediately. Muharan and others all shouted loudly. They finally bowed their heads and begged Xia Ping for mercy. They no longer had their previous arrogance and domineering arrogance. After all, they couldn't even escape. How could they fight against this monster? Although 100,000 points was a lot, compared to their lives and future, it was still insignificant. Yes, then let's sign the contract now. Xia Ping immediately took out his communication device and made a contract. It was legally binding, and he had Muharrem and the others sign it. Once the contract was signed, he was not afraid that Muharrem and the others would go back on their word. After all, if they still wanted to live on the side of humans, they would definitely not dare to violate the law. Muharrem and the others were extremely aggrieved. Their hearts were dripping with blood. Just like that, a total of 100,000 points had disappeared just like that. This was practically cutting off their flesh. Moreover, there were 20 to 30 of them here. If each of them provided 100,000 points, this kid would probably get 3 million points. This was a huge sum of money. Even a martial master realm expert would have to spend a lot of time to obtain 3 million points. However, this bastard could obtain it so easily. This was too unfair. However, it was impossible for them to go back on their word. A wisp of true essence was still within their bodies. As long as this boy willed it, their entire bodies would be burnt to ashes. How could they dare to have any other thoughts? Left with no choice, they could only sign the contract with Xia Ping. They promised to give Xia Ping 100,000 points within 2 months. If they were late, they would be charged interest. They also wanted to take out 100,000 points now. However, in order to cultivate, buy treasures, secret manuals, etc., they did not have many points left. If they wanted to obtain 100,000 points, they would probably need another 2 months. They would have to risk their lives to complete the missions and borrow money from others. Only then would they be able to obtain 100,000 points. However, Xia Ping was also anxious. After all, he had obtained 3 million points for free. Even if he was late by 2 months, it would not be a problem. Rascal! Seeing this situation, Su Ji was speechless. This guy's way of earning money was simply unparalleled. He was like a bandit, specializing in plundering other people's wealth to strengthen himself. Even the descendants of the sovereign clans were not this overbearing. Done. Muharrem and the others finally signed the contract. With a thought, Xia Ping immediately removed the foreign true essence from their bodies. He did not leave a trace of power to control their bodies. Immediately, Muharrem and the others heaved a sigh of relief. If there was such a trace of power in their bodies at all times, they would not be able to eat or sleep in peace. It was like having a time bomb installed in their bodies. Fortunately, it was removed now. Otherwise, they would not be able to feel at ease. Whoosh! After completely taming Muharrem and the others, Xia Ping turned around and walked toward the lake. He wanted to pluck the 100-year moon heart lotus at the edge of the lake. This was a rare spiritual medicine. He would not waste it. Splash! Just as Xia Ping approached the lake, the calm surface of the lake immediately trembled. Huge crocodiles rushed out. Their bodies were covered in black armor. Their faces were ferocious. They were undoubtedly fiendish demons. Adamantine demonic crocodiles. Muharrem and the others immediately recognized the identity of these fiendish demons. These fiendish demons were called adamantine demonic crocodiles. They lived at the edge of the lake and their strength was extremely tyrannical. Chapter 425. Ah! Immediately, the dozen adamantine demonic crocodiles that wanted to kill Xia Ping were immediately infected by the dark red flame, which instantly invaded their bodies and burned their devil chi. They immediately let out mournful screams, as if the flame had come into contact with natural gas. Their entire bodies were covered by the terrifying flame, and their bodies constantly rolled, trying to extinguish the flame. But it was useless. This was the flame that Xia Ping cultivated by absorbing the essence of the sun and refined by cultivating the pure yang immortal incantation. Its power was unimaginably terrifying, with the power of extreme yang, comparable to the water of life. It could be said that this flame was the nemesis of those demons. Bang bang bang! In just a few breaths' time, these adamantine demonic crocodiles were immediately burned into black charcoal. Because of the rolling of the adamantine demonic crocodiles, a deep pit was smashed on the ground, causing the earth to tremble. Because of the spread of the flame, the soil turned into molten lava, and the surrounding temperature rose sharply. Muharin and the others could not help but retreat a dozen steps, barely able to resist the power of the flame. How is this possible? Seeing that the dozen adamantine demonic crocodiles were burned into charcoal in a few breaths' time, unable to even struggle, Muharin and the others' eyes almost popped out. Their hearts were almost in despair. Even these demons couldn't kill Xiaoping, and instead were killed by this bastard. Then who else could be this kid's opponent? Wouldn't they be oppressed to death by this bastard for the rest of their lives? Wouldn't they have to work for him for the rest of their lives? Oh my god, what kind of qigong is this? Why is the power of the flames so terrifying? Su Ji could not help but widen her beautiful eyes, feeling that it was unimaginable. She also knew some descendants of kings who had the power of flame in their bodies, and they also cultivated a flame cultivation method, but it was not as exaggerated as Xiaoping, who burned the demons to death in a few breaths' time, without them even being able to struggle. The power was not as simple as several times, the difference was at least dozens of times, almost impossible to make up for. Pa! Xiaoping did not pay attention to other people's surprise, immediately took out the demon cores of the dozen adamantine demonic crocodiles and put them into his spatial ring. After all, these demon cores were good stuff. If refined, the effect would not be inferior to any elixir. At the same time, he also took out the 100-year moon heart lotus. At this time, the adamantine demonic crocodiles that dared to ambush in the lake were completely killed. No demons dared to stand out and provoke them. Rumble. Xiaoping definitely had such an idea. He wanted to use them as cannon fodder to shut the mouths of those demons. Run! Thinking of this, Muharin and the others did not have time to curse at Xiaoping. One by one, they took a healing elixir and endured the pain in their bodies. They all ran toward the entrance of the Cloud Mist Mountains. They also used the fastest speed in their lives. Even their blood began to burn. They did not dare to look back and directly ran at a speed that was as fast as death. Rumble. At this time, groups of demons walked out from the black fog. Each of them was holding a steel fork. Like a herd of beasts, they formed groups and crazily rushed in all directions. Anything that stood in front of them would be torn to pieces in an instant. Die for me! Xiaoping crazily sprinted. His whole body surged with violent flames. He was like a man on fire. Along the way, he brought along terrifying flames. Any demons that dared to approach him were instantly torn to pieces and burned to ashes. This kind of momentum was simply like a rampaging tank, crushing everything in its path. After running for a full hour and killing countless demons along the way, Xiaoping and the others finally arrived at the entrance of the Cloud Mist Mountains. A huge door of light appeared in front of them. A large number of students frantically ran toward the door of light. Go! Xiaoping vigorously jumped, cracking the ground. In an instant, he jumped toward the door of light and arrived at the tunnel. He madly ran. In a few breaths' time, he finally left the Cloud Mist Mountains. He breathed in the fresh air outside and absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It was as if he had obtained a new life. We're out. Chapter 426. When the Cloud Mist Mountains were completely closed, apart from the students who had died inside, most of them had come out. However, almost all of them were injured and had weak auras. What? A teacher from Ares College suddenly shouted. You said that Niezhen died in the Cloud Mist Mountains? And he was killed by someone called Wu Wudi. Who? Who is that Wu Wudi? How could he be so daring? He roared in anger. Niezhen was an elite of Ares College and was known as the future king. Such a person was the focus of the school. Furthermore, he was from the Nie family and was the grandson of the king, Nie Wudao. The death of such a person would cause a huge commotion and infuriate many people. It can't be. Even Niezhen died inside, and he was killed by someone. The killer is called Wu Wudi. Where did this kid come from? I've never heard of this student's name. I don't know where he came from. He's really ruthless. He even dared to kill Niezhen. Is he crazy? Killing people in the Cloud Mist Mountains is not illegal. After all, everyone who entered signed a life and death agreement. It's not illegal, but will the Nye family care about this? If one of their people dies, I'm afraid they will all go crazy. No matter who that Wu Wuti is, he will definitely be hunted down by the Nye family. Many teachers were discussing. They were completely stunned by the news of Nye Zhen's death. They would never have thought that someone as strong as Nye Zhen would be killed. Moreover, the other party was an unknown nobody, which was even more unimaginable. Wu Wuti, come out. Come out immediately. An Ares College teacher shouted angrily. How dare you kill Nye Zhen? Are you crazy? Do you know that this is a serious crime? The entire Cloud Realm cannot tolerate it. He looked around angrily, trying to find Wu Wuti. However, there were too many students here. They were not just from Yanhuang University, Ares College, Tianjin University, and Black-White College. There were also students from other top universities. There were at least hundreds of thousands of students here. Finding a murderer among so many students was as difficult as finding a needle in a haystack. The other students looked at each other, their eyes flickering. They looked around at their companions, trying to find out who the real Wu Wuti was. But no matter how hard they looked, they could not find Wu Wuti. Investigate thoroughly. Investigate all the students immediately. Whoever dared to kill Nye Zhen's men, no matter who it is, must be severely punished. Let's begin. Isolate them and investigate them one by one. Let's see who has the guts to actually dare to kill Nye Zhen. They must be tired of living. If we don't find out who the murderer is, none of you will be able to leave. One by one, the Ares College teachers jumped out. Their faces were as dark as ink, and their bodies emitted a cold aura. Hee, future king. That sounds nice. He has not reached that level yet. He is just a baby. For a junior, he wants to shake the rules of the Cloud Mountains. Even the Wolf King Nye Wudao is not qualified. Descendant of a king. His death means that he is nothing. Even if he is not dead now, he will be killed by the demons sooner or later. Let's go. I can't be bothered with this bunch of lunatics from Ares College. Let them wake up. This world is not something they can control. They are still far from being able to point fingers at our schools. Many university teachers were laughing coldly, mocking the people from Ares College as if they were looking at lunatics. They completely ignored the demands of this group of people. These bastards! The faces of the teachers from Ares College turned green and white. They were extremely ugly. They were used to being domineering in their own school. They thought that if they shouted, many people would listen to them. However, if any of the schools present lost to them, others might consider it if they said it nicely. But now, their attitude was so unyielding, as if they were ordering their own subordinates. Who could stand it? It was a supreme existence that reigned above all living beings. He even used his spiritual power to penetrate it and found that there were countless cells in the blood. He estimated that there were hundreds of millions of them, and it was impossible to count them clearly. Every single cell inside seemed to be a huge universe, with countless stars revolving within them. At the core was a sun, emitting a light that had existed since ancient times, shining through the ages. Vaguely, he seemed to see a golden crow of hell lying in the center of the universe. When it spread its wings, it could cover an entire star field. Its eyes were like ancient black holes. The feathers on its body were black. It was a darkness that could not be described with words. Even the evilest filth in the world could not compare to it. Even the most terrifying curse could not compare to it. Even the darkness from the endless abyss could not compare. This was the ultimate power of darkness. Every single feather was made up of energy. Any one of them would burn with black flames when it fell into the void. When it fell, a planet would instantly turn into ashes, and even a black hole would be corroded. A single caw could cause thousands of planets to explode. Just by being in the depths of the universe, it could become an existence that shone through the ages. The black light on its body pierced through every corner of the universe, seeping into the 9 layers of hell. Under such majestic power, Xia Ping could feel how insignificant he was. This was the highest life form in the universe. Even the legendary gods and demons could not compare to it. It's too powerful. Xia Ping's body was trembling. Compared to such a majestic existence, the king-level experts and the heaven-devouring demon venerable were just ants. No wonder it could shine through the 9 layers of hell and become the son of hell. It could be said to be an existence like the Lord of gods and demons. With such great power, who could resist it? Walala! At this moment, the ball of blood immediately fused into Xia Ping's body. The billions of cells of the golden crow of hell in the blood fused into every single cell of Xia Ping's, fusing with one another. No, it was not fusing, but devouring. The cells of the golden crow of hell were extremely noble. How could they fuse with human cells? They were devouring every single cell in Xia Ping's body, as though they wanted to replace him. Even the soul of a golden crow of hell appeared in the ball of blood. It entered the depths of Xia Ping's mind and cawed, wanting to devour Xia Ping's soul and be reborn. Compared to the highest life form in the universe, the bloodline of humans was simply too weak. Oh no! Xia Ping's eyes flashed coldly. He felt that he was in danger, but for some reason, he did not feel afraid at all. Instead, he felt extremely safe. Rumble, at this moment, a mysterious power surged out from the depths of Xia Ping's soul. Mysterious chains broke out from the void like chains of order. Seeing the appearance of these chains, the golden crow of hell was shocked. Fear could be seen in the depths of its eyes. It tried to escape, but it was too late. There was no way it could escape. Arg! Immediately, the soul of the golden crow of hell screamed. The void shook and its body was pierced by the chains. Countless ancient and mysterious inscriptions appeared, forming a terrifying sealing power. Even the cells of the golden crow of hell were pierced by the mysterious chains. It was as though a seal had been imposed on them, trapping them in the depths of the core of every cell in Xia Ping's body. The golden crow of hell screamed and tried to struggle, but it was useless. It was as though the Monkey King had been suppressed by the palm of the Buddha. Faced with this power, it could not resist at all and was suppressed obediently. Ha! With the help of this power, Xia Ping immediately felt that the power that wanted to destroy his soul had disappeared. Even the bloodline of the golden crow of hell was rapidly merging into the depths of the core of his cells. At the same time, he activated the pure yang immortal art. A warm energy instantly spread to his limbs. He could feel every corner of his body clearly, no matter how big or small. Even his soul seemed to be resonating with the soul of the golden crow of hell. Strange waves appeared in the void. Traces of golden energy were emitted, strengthening his soul. Chapter 428. Cloud Realm, Silver Wolf City. This was a huge human city, covering an area no less than the capital of Yanhuang Planet's Yangzhou district. It had a population of more than 100 million, and its business was extremely prosperous. It was an out-and-out human city. There were many modern high-rise buildings and spaceships in the sky. Countless warriors went in and out of the city, transporting all kinds of resources. The money that flowed through the city every day was simply an astronomical figure. It could be said that this Silver Wolf City was simply overflowing with wealth. However, it was not the federal government that controlled this city, but the Nie family, a king family. They were the owners of this Silver Wolf City and controlled everything here. All the people who lived in this city worked for the Nie family. From this, one could imagine how rich the Nie family was. It was almost as rich as a country. However, this was the horror of a king family and the power of a king realm expert. Once a king realm expert became a king, he could divide the land and establish a human city or even an independent kingdom on any piece of land in the cloud realm. However, not every king realm expert had the ability to build a city. King realm experts who could build a city were basically the strongest among all the king realm experts. This way, they could resist the various natural disasters in the cloud realm, resist the endless demon beasts, and forcibly establish a city in the wilderness to build a human paradise. In the center of Silver Wolf City, there was a huge manor with waterfalls, lakes, courtyards, gardens, and all kinds of art. It was incomparably luxurious. This was the residence of the Nya family in Silver Wolf City. At this time, dozens of Nya family elders gathered in a hall of this manor. They stood in the hall, exuding a terrible murderous aura. They were at least in the master realm. At the front of the hall, there was a chair carved from thousand-year-old yellow pear wood. Both sides of the chair were carved with wolf heads, and the top of the chair was covered with the skin of a king-level demonic beast. A middle-aged man wearing blue training clothes was sitting on the chair. He had long hair, a stone-like face, and a third eye on his forehead. Even though he did not say anything and even had his eyes closed, everyone around him could feel the terrifying murderous aura exuding from this middle-aged man. However, the surrounding people could feel the terrifying killing intent emanating from the middle-aged man's body. It was as if the middle-aged man's body was the center, and everything within a radius of 100 miles had become an absolute domain. Their lives were in the hands of this man. As long as he willed it, they would immediately fall to the ground and die. This was a gap that could not be made up for. This middle-aged man was the famous king of the Cloud Realm, also known as the Wolf King Nya Wudao. Without evidence, no one can prove that it was done by an enemy. Someone refuted. Shut up! Nya Wudao shouted angrily. I don't care who the murderer is. He killed my grandson, so he must pay with his life. Does he think we can't find him just because he changed his appearance and name? That's bullshit. What about his martial arts? What martial arts techniques he's proficient in? What about the cultivation method he cultivates? These things can't be hidden at all. With these clues, how can we not find him? Moreover, the number of people who can kill Zhen can be counted on one hand among the students. How can we not find such a person? He glared at the many Nya family elders. According to the eyewitness, the murderer who killed Zhen is proficient in sword techniques. His sword techniques are unparalleled and almost divine. He can compete with Black and White Academy's Qiu Wanwan, an elder said in a low voice. However, the sword technique used by the murderer is unheard of. It can't be found in the entire cloud world. So far, no one knows who knows this sword technique. As for fist techniques, footwork, and inner force cultivation methods, the murderer is too strong. Apart from Zhen everyone else was killed with a single punch. The surrounding students' knowledge of the martial Dao is shallow. They have no idea what he knows. If there was a king-level expert observing Xia Ping's battle, they might be able to see some clues. However, the students present were merely rookies who had just entered the martial master realm. How could they see the secret? Chapter 429. But what kind of person could kill Zhen? One of the elders still couldn't believe it. Even if Cho Wan of the Black and White Academy and Changbin of the Divine God University were able to defeat Zhen with the help of the terrain, it's impossible for them to kill him. He clenched his fists tightly. Defeating and killing were two different concepts. If Nye Zhen wanted to escape, even if a genius like Cho Qianwan had the upper hand, he wouldn't be able to kill him. That's right. Zhen has the three-eyed wolf bloodline. Once he opens his third eye, his strength will soar and he'll be invincible among his peers. Furthermore, he has the treasure bestowed by the family head, the golden light mirror. Once he uses this treasure, he'll be able to match a martial master at the third heaven. Who can be his match? He won't be afraid of being surrounded. Unless he was surrounded by demons. The problem is that according to the witnesses, Zhen was killed in a one-on-one fight. He wasn't surrounded by demons. Many elders of the Nya family discussed. They couldn't believe that Nye Zhen had died. According to Nye Zhen's strength, this trial in the Cloud Mist mountain range was just an ordinary trial. There was no danger to his life. Furthermore, he also had an extremely precious treasure on him. His strength was above that of many students. It was simply impossible for anyone to kill Nie Zhen. But Nie Zhen had died and even lost his treasure. It was unimaginable how furious they were now. There are two possibilities. An elder's eyes flashed with a cold light. The first possibility is that the killer is a descendant of a king clan. Perhaps he has a grudge against our Nie clan. In order to eliminate our Nie clan's heavens chosen, he brought a powerful treasure with him. As a result, Zhen was caught off guard and was killed. In a battle between experts, life and death are often decided by carelessness. The second possibility is that the murderer is a commoner. He looks very ordinary and weak on the surface. Zhen underestimated him and didn't have his guard up. That's why he didn't choose to escape. However, commoners are not simple either. They might have had a fortuitous encounter, entered an ancient ruin, obtained a shocking martial legacy, or obtained a terrifying treasure, allowing them to soar to the sky. This kind of person hides himself very deeply. He won't easily reveal his trump cards. However, once he is exposed, it will be a world-shaking killing intent. Who knows how many descendants of kings have died in the hands of these commoners? At this point, he paused. Of course, there's a third possibility. Perhaps Wu Wuti was originally a demon in disguise. He purposely disguised himself as a human to kill Zhen and instigate a war between humans. However, this possibility is very small. Zhen has a third eye, so he should be able to see through the other party's identity. Once he realizes that something is wrong, he will immediately escape. He voiced his conjecture. In other words, we have to focus on two aspects. A white-haired elder stretched out two fingers. One is the descendant of a monarch with astonishing talent, while the other is a commoner genius who suddenly rose to prominence and obtained a fortuitous encounter. Both of them could be Zhen's murderer. His eyes revealed a deep murderous intent. Everyone's eyes were filled with sorrow. Their Nie clan's pride had died, becoming a stepping stone for their enemies. This was absolutely intolerable. At this moment, their hearts were filled with terrifying fury. However, we can be sure that the person who killed Zhen must be a student who advanced to the martial mentor realm. A black-clothed elder clenched his fist and said, "We have compiled a list of the students who advanced to the martial master realm in the Cloud Mountain range. There are a total of 23,000 of them. Excluding those with alibis, there are still 8,763 of them. There were many famous students on this list, but there were also many unknown students. Xia Ping was also on this list, but he was very inconspicuous. After all, according to various information, Xia Ping was a new student who had just entered the university and was proficient in fist techniques. He was completely different from the murderer, Wu Wuti, who was proficient in sword techniques. The people of the Nie clan didn't really believe that a freshman who had just entered university could defeat and even kill the Nie clan's favored son of heaven, Nie Zhen. Spread the news of Zhen's death. Let every martial artist in the Cloud Realm know. Invincible Nie clenched his fists and exuded a terrifying murderous intent. I, Invincible Nie, will offer 500 billion federal coins, a treasure, and a century-old turtle longevity pill as a reward for Wu Wuti's life. As long as anyone can provide any useful clues, as long as anyone can kill Wu Wuti, these rewards will be his. I don't believe that he can escape with such a huge reward. Even if he's from a sovereign clan, there's no guarantee that there aren't people who hate him or are greedy. As long as there's a clue, as long as there's a trace, he's dead for sure. There's nowhere for him to hide. Do you think that I, Invincible Nie, won't be able to find him just because he changed his name and appearance? What a joke. He killed someone from my Nie clan. I'll make him unable to eat or sleep in peace for the rest of his life. He gritted his teeth. 500 billion federal coins, a treasure, and a century-old turtle longevity pill. When the three rewards were mentioned, all the elders of the Nie clan sucked in a breath of cold air. They could see the shock in each other's eyes, as well as a trace of desire and madness. Even for a king-level expert, 500 billion federal coins was a huge fortune. Who knew how many years and risks it would take to earn it back? Chapter 430. With the Nye family deliberately spreading the news of the reward quickly spread throughout the underground world. Although all the students who entered the Cloud Mist Mountains had signed a life and death contract, which prevented the federal government from pursuing Wu Wuti, it did not mean that the Nye family could not issue a warrant for his arrest. There was light and darkness in this world. Even under the pressure of the federal government, martial artists did not dare to make a move openly. Once there was a video or other evidence that proved that the other party had killed someone, the federal government could pursue him. However, in reality, there was no evidence for most killings, so the federal government could not do anything about it. After all, there were too many grievances between martial artists. Even if the federal government wanted to suppress it, it could not. Hence, it would sometimes turn a blind eye to it. Therefore, many assassin organizations, underworld organizations, and other forces still existed in every corner of the federal government. They were still tenaciously surviving. Crazy, the Nye family has really gone crazy. 500 billion federal coins, a treasured weapon, and a century-old turtle longevity pill, just to kill a martial master realm junior. Isn't this crazy? The reward is too exaggerated. It's unbelievable. I don't think the Nye family would dare to say such things to trick us. Otherwise, even the Nye family would be hurt after offending so many of us. They are not that stupid. Who wouldn't be tempted by such a reward? Even a king-level expert would come personally. That Wu Wuti is really pitiful. He's dead this time. I reckon that in less than 3 days, he will be found by all the major forces and die a horrible death. Looks like the Wolf King Nye Wudao is really angry. Otherwise, why would he be willing to take out such a treasure? No matter what, if I can kill Wu Wuti this time, I'll be rich. It's equivalent to a fortuitous encounter. Many martial artists discussed the news. They were extremely shocked by the Nye family's reward. No matter which one it was enough to make countless martial artists go crazy. It was not an exaggeration to say that once one obtained such a reward, they would be able to soar to the sky. As the news spread, students from all over the world quickly learned of this matter. TSK, that's amazing. The Nye family is really generous. It's really generous. The entire internet is boiling over. Once the character is completed, he will immediately obtain many treasures. This is simply unheard of. I wonder who will be able to kill Wu Wuti and obtain the treasures provided by the Nye family. If I get it, then I'll be rich. Many students from various universities in the Cloud Realm began to talk about it. They all stared at the rewards with great desire, wishing they could immediately take them for themselves. Right now, his lifespan was coming to an end. If he could not break through, he would soon die of old age and turn into a pile of white bones, completely rotting. However, if he obtained the 100-year turtle longevity pill and consumed it, it would immediately increase his lifespan by 100 years. With enough time, breaking through the bottleneck would not be a difficult task. With a bang, he broke out of the cave and directly left. At this time, every corner of the Cloud world was shaken by the news spread by the Nye family. A large number of experts and martial arts organizations went completely crazy. They could not sit still at all. Some were students, some were assassins, and some were king-level experts who were about to die. There were also some small martial arts organizations. They all went crazy when they heard the news. Although these martial arts organizations were far inferior to the Nye family individually, if all of them were added up, they would be many times more powerful than the Nye family. Moreover, to kill Wu Wuti, one did not rely on martial arts, but on intelligence. Whoever found Wu Wuti's whereabouts first would be rewarded by the Nye family. Therefore, even some small martial arts organizations and scattered soldiers believed that they had a chance to complete the task and obtain the reward provided by the Nye family. Chapter 431. Boom! Xia Ping slowly opened his eyes. The energy on the surface of his body vibrated, and the eggshell around him immediately shattered. Dense cracks appeared on the eggshell, and it fell to the ground, creating a deep pit. Did the fusion succeed? Xia Ping felt that the aura and strength of his body had changed dramatically from before. His strength was at least 5 or 6 times stronger, and the muscle density of his body was more than 10 times stronger. He estimated that even if an ordinary sword hit his body, it would not be able to hurt him much. He already had a trace of the invincible Vajra body. Even the spiritual ether in his body was tainted with a trace of black aura. The spiritual ether flowed around his meridians, like lava flowing around his body, containing a terrifying destructive power. At the same time, he also discovered that while he was asleep, his body had already opened up 12 meridians. The spiritual ether was endless, and the 12 meridians formed a small spiritual ether cycle. He had reached the peak of the first heaven of Martial Master Realm. What's going on? Although I feel much stronger than before, it is a little different from what I imagined. It doesn't seem to be unbelievably strong. Xia Ping's eyes flashed. As if sensing Xia Ping's thoughts, the system replied, "This is normal imagination. The energy contained in the golden crow of hell's bloodline is too great. If the host were to absorb it all at once, he would definitely be blown into ashes. Therefore, the system sealed the golden crow of hell's bloodline in the host's body. When the host's martial cultivation improves, part of the seal will be released, allowing the golden crow of hell's cells to leak out. Then, the host can use the spiritual ether to completely refine the golden crow of hell's cells and integrate them into his body. In the future, when the host's martial cultivation reaches an extremely high level, he will be able to completely refine the golden crow of hell's bloodline, integrate it into his body, and control it completely." It explained why it had become like this. "I see." Xia Ping indicated that he understood. Refining the golden crow of hell's bloodline was a long-term project, and the best way was to do it step by step. If he were to absorb and refine it all at once, the human body would not be able to withstand it. However, as his martial cultivation grew stronger, his body would become stronger. Then, he would be able to easily refine the golden crow of hell's bloodline. This method could be said to be safe and efficient. Ha! This feeling. Xia Ping closed his eyes and immersed his mind into it. He circulated the pure yang immortal art, wanting to familiarize himself with his new body. Suddenly, he felt as if there was a golden crow of hell residing in his body. Every cell in his body seemed to have a small golden crow living in the depths of its core. They were like small suns, containing eternal energy. He was able to unleash great power with every move he made. Once he refined all the energy in these cells, he would most likely become the true golden crow of hell, ruling over all living beings in the world. Crash! Xia Ping revolved the true essence within his body, causing it to flow through his meridians. As this true essence flowed, it seemed to faintly form the shape of a golden crow of hell, exuding an ancient, mysterious, grand mist, chaotic, and hellish aura. This aura permeated the surroundings, shooting straight into the clouds and causing space to tremble. Rumble at that moment, the entire world seemed to tremble. A huge dark cloud floated in the sky, almost enveloping an area with a radius of 1,000 miles. It was gloomy, even the sun in the sky was covered, not letting a single ray of sunlight leak through. The entire land was plunged into darkness. What's going on? Many students of Yanhuang University immediately noticed this scene, and they all cried out in shock, because this scene was simply too terrifying and bizarre. It was worth noting that with the advancement of technology, the ability to predict the weather was extremely accurate, with a success rate of 98%. It was basically impossible for the weather to suddenly turn gloomy like this. Some weather observers of Yanhuang University were also shocked, having no idea what was going on. The hair of some of the king-level experts stood on end as they sensed an extremely dangerous aura. There was a huge black cloud in the sky, which seemed to contain terrifying red lightning. It was as if a thunder god was living in the depths of the black cloud. A crack appeared in the void, as if the void had split open, and chaotic lightning seeped out from the depths, causing countless king-level experts to tremble, as if a great disaster was about to happen. As the person involved, Xia Ping felt even more terror descend upon his body, as if there was an inexplicable existence in the sky staring at him, wanting to send lightning down and completely destroy him. It was as if he was the filth of this world, and it was going to be completely cleaned. System, what happened? Xia Ping instinctively felt that this was definitely the system's doing. Otherwise, with his own strength, there was no way he could have caused such a huge impression. Host, this is the wrath of heaven. The system said, the golden crow of hell bloodline in the host's body is a powerful bloodline that does not belong to this world. It is too powerful, almost threatening the balance of this world. Therefore, the laws of this world want to completely wipe out this bloodline, and they want to send down lightning to destroy the host. What? Xia Ping's mouth twitched. He already knew that fusing with such a powerful bloodline was definitely not a good thing, but now it actually attracted the hostility of the laws, wanting to destroy him. But the host does not need to worry. The system said, right now, the host's strength is too weak, and the laws of this world will not treat the host as a great enemy. It will only send down the power of ordinary lightning. And most importantly, as the host's strength continues to grow, the aura of the golden crow of hell will continue to leak out, and the host will continuously receive the baptism of this world's lightning. However, once the host passes the lightning tribulation, the host will be recognized by the laws of this world, and there will be many benefits. Continuously receive the baptism of the world's lightning? Xia Ping was speechless. Didn't that mean that every time he advanced to a new realm, he would be attacked by lightning, and even the heavens wanted to strike him to death? It was fine if he passed the lightning tribulation, but what if he didn't? Wouldn't he die immediately? Rumble, but now was not the time for him to complain. The huge dark clouds in the sky churned like a real dragon turning over. Terrifying red lightning brewed, and a terrifying aura of destruction spread in the surroundings. At this moment, the entire Yanhuang University was greatly shaken. Countless students felt as if they had encountered a disaster, and if they were not careful, they would immediately be killed by the lightning. Boom! At this moment, the lightning power and the dark clouds in the sky seemed to have been brewed to the extreme. Immediately, a red lightning bolt as thick as a bucket descended from the sky. Chapter 432. Boom! When the red lightning descended, it was like the roar of a thunder god, wanting to completely annihilate Xia Ping. However, at that moment, the entire Yanhuang University's defense system was immediately activated. A huge transparent energy shield rose up and instantly enveloped Yanhuang University in all directions, protecting the entire area like an eggshell. With a bang, the red lightning smashed under the transparent energy shield. A terrifying destructive power erupted, attempting to penetrate the energy shield and attack Xia Ping. However, it was still blocked by the energy shield. Right, there's Yanhuang University's defense system here. Those lightning bolts can't hurt me. Seeing this, Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He suddenly remembered that he was in Yanhuang University. Yanhuang University was known as one of the elite cities in the human world. In order to build this city, who knew how much advanced technology had been used? It would not be an exaggeration to say that this city was the essence of technology. Even if all the powerhouses of the demon race came out, it would be impossible to capture this place in a short time. Its defense system was enough to withstand countless natural disasters. However, such an energy blockade seemed to have angered the heavens. Terrifying black clouds surged as if the thunder god was angry. It thought that the sinner had helpers and tried to protect him. This was a serious crime. Dong, dong, dong. In an instant, 3 red lightning bolts fell from the sky. They were as thick as buckets and extremely crazy. They smashed fiercely above Xiaoping's villa, wanting to completely penetrate the energy shield. However, it was useless. The defense of the energy shield was extremely strong. A mere 3 red lightning bolts could not penetrate it at all. They were easily offset and destroyed in the sky. However, this was just the beginning. In a breath's time, 6 red lightning bolts fell, followed by 9, 18, and 27. In the sky, countless lightning bolts danced like lightning snakes, containing a destructive aura that covered an area of Xiaoping's villa. Bang, bang, bang. Immediately, these lightning bolts collided with the energy shield. After millions of vibrations, even atoms were shattered into pieces. An earth-shattering explosion erupted like a nuclear bomb. The surrounding energy of heaven and earth was chaotic, forming a huge vortex that spread in all directions. It affected the major buildings of Yanhuang University, shattering countless glasses and making crackling sounds. Many Yanhuang University students were immediately shocked. Because the area covered by the lightning was near Xiaoping's villa, which was also the ordinary student dormitory area, it naturally caused countless students to panic. What's going on? Why is there lightning in the sky attacking Yanhuang University? This is a natural disaster. Nothing like this has happened in the past hundreds of years. Why is it happening today? This is too strange. Everyone, look, isn't the direction of the lightning attack the villa of the scourge Xiaoping? Holy shit, it's true. The lightning in the sky doesn't strike other places, but it specifically strikes this kid's area. It can't be, could it be that these red thunderbolts were caused by that shit-stirrer Xiaoping? He was struck by lightning. The heavens have eyes, the heavens have eyes. That shameless Xiaoping has done too many evil things. Now, even the heavens are furious and want to send down lightning to deal with this evil scourge. Serves him right. This Xiaoping deserves it. What he did was too immoral, causing the heavens to be angry and the people to resent him. Even the heavens couldn't stand it and wanted to send down lightning to strike him to death. The heavens must have heard the prayers in my heart and sent down lightning to completely eliminate this 1,000-year scourge. Tomorrow, I will go burn incense and pray to the heavens. Many students were discussing. They were all extremely excited as they watched the area where Xiaoping's villa was covered by countless thunderbolts. It was filled with a destructive aura that wanted to completely destroy Xiaoping. This kind of power, even if one was one step closer, would tear a martial artist into pieces. Many students retreated one after another and didn't dare to approach that area at all. A group of students who had enmity with Xiaoping were in an extremely good mood. Although they couldn't kill Xiaoping, it might not be a bad thing if they could use the hands of the heavens to kill Xiaoping. They were looking forward to the appearance of Xiaoping being struck by lightning into charcoal. This matter was too big. Not only did it shock countless students, but it also alarmed the higher-ups of the school. What's going on? Red thunderbolts appeared in the sky and attacked an area of students. The power of this red thunderbolt is too terrifying. It has the power to kill a king-level expert. Quickly resist and increase the energy to resist. Otherwise, if these thunderbolts fall, they can destroy an area and cause countless deaths and injuries. It's really strange. How did these red thunderbolts appear? For hundreds of years, there hasn't been any strange weather phenomenon in this area, but now it has appeared. These red thunderbolts seem to be targeting a certain area of students. Go and take a look immediately. What's going on? Elders appeared one after another, all of them emitting extremely terrifying auras. With their bodies as the center, a terrifying domain spread out. They were all king-level experts. Originally, they were all cultivating in seclusion in the depths of Yanhuang University, but they were also awakened by the terrifying thunderbolts. They all broke out of their seclusion and looked at the huge dark clouds in the sky. Feeling the destructive energy contained in the dark clouds, all of them felt their hearts palpitate. Even though they had advanced to the king level, they still felt great respect for the heaven's might. At this moment, the dark clouds in the sky seemed to be even more furious. The descending thunderbolts were continuously blocked, which made even the heavens angry. The void cracked open, and it seemed like a black wormhole had appeared. 36 thunderbolts, 45 thunderbolts, 54 thunderbolts, and so on. Countless red thunderbolts fell like thousands of missiles exploding, bombarding Xiaoping's villa. Even though Yanhuang University's defense system was extremely powerful, it was now on the verge of collapse from the bombardment. Its energy was constantly being weakened, and there seemed to be only a thin layer of white paper left. Damn it, system, didn't you say that only a trace of aura leaked out, so the power of the thunderbolts was very small? Why is it so terrifying now? Even if a king-level expert was here, he would probably be struck to death. The corner of Xiaoping's mouth twitched. He felt that under these thunderbolts, he was as weak as an ant. If it wasn't for Yanhuang University's defense system, he would probably have been struck to death. Because this is the first heavenly retribution, its power will be unprecedentedly great, the system said. Moreover, there's also Yanhuang University's defense system, which angered the heavens. They felt that someone was in the way, so the power of the heavenly retribution increased by more than 10,000 times. In fact, if the host was in the wild, without Yanhuang University's defense system in the way, it would be impossible for such a powerful heavenly retribution to appear by relying on the host's own strength. Host, be careful. If I'm not wrong, there will be another 81 thunderbolts erupting at the same time. If the host can endure it, the host will be fine this time. What? Chapter 433. Rumble. The moment the system notification appeared, dark clouds rolled in the sky, and terrifying energy boiled. 81 red thunderbolts instantly fell from the sky. Each bolt of red lightning was as thick as a water bucket. They were like flood dragons and contained an aura that could destroy heaven and earth. They bombarded the area Xiaoping was in. Even a normal king would be blasted into smithereens by the power of this lightning. At this moment, the energy shield of Yanhuang University immediately lit up. In an instant, dozens of layers of defense were set up in the sky, trying to block the red thunderbolts. Bang! 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 The red thunderbolts immediately exploded and collided with the energy shield. It was like a battle between thousands of martial arts masters. The explosion was earth-shattering, and the surrounding air was filled with billowing airflow, sweeping in all directions. With Xiaoping's villa as the center, ripples that could be seen with the naked eye immediately gushed out. Hundreds of cracks immediately appeared on the ground, and buildings were split in half, with gravel flying everywhere. With a cracking sound, when all 81 red thunderbolts fell, the terrifying destructive power exploded. The transparent energy shield in the sky finally could not withstand it and was torn apart. It was like glass shattering. Pieces of the energy shield appeared, and a red thunderbolt penetrated it, falling towards Xiaoping's body in an instant. The top of the villa was immediately pierced by the terrifying power, and gravel rolled down. Dong! Xiaoping was caught off guard and was hit by the red thunderbolt. His body crackled as if millions of volts of electricity had passed through it, and the air was filled with a burning smell. Even the ground was hit by the thunderbolt, and a huge pit immediately appeared. The soil on the ground seemed to have been passed through by the electric current, and was completely charred, melting into the shape of glass. Pure Yang immortal art, only I can't be destroyed, pure Yang dragon. Xiaoping instinctively operated the pure Yang immortal art in his body, and the spiritual ether in his body surged crazily, as if it had condensed into a pure Yang dragon. The red thunderbolts descended like the god of destruction, wandering through Xiaoping's limbs and bones. It was as if thousands of thunder dragons were roaring, completely destroying every cell in his body. However, when Xiaoping operated the pure Yang immortal art, the spiritual ether in his body went crazy, condensing into a pure Yang dragon, and fiercely pounced forward, devouring these thunder dragons. Whoosh! Xiaoping could feel his body being struck by the red lightning. After being baptized by the lightning and thoroughly tempered, his muscles, bones, and meridians seemed to have become much stronger. Due to the lightning flood dragon swimming around, his meridians expanded continuously, doubling the size of his meridians and allowing them to contain more veritable essence energy. In that instant, Xia Ping felt that one of the infernal golden crow cells in his body seemed to have awakened. Then, it was rapidly refined by his body's true essence, completely transforming into the source of life. Bang! His body was violently shaken, and boundless true essence surged through his meridians. Finally, the 13th meridian was connected, and a massive amount of true essence rumbled like a surging river. Second heaven of the martial master realm. Xia Ping could feel that his body's strength and speed had greatly increased, and the Jin Yuan within his body had also increased by a lot. A faint shadow of a golden crow of hell appeared behind him. The surface of his body seemed to be surrounded by a dark red flame, and the ground around his feet was also burned by this flame. Even the hard rocks were burned into magma at this moment. Water vapor rose and filled the surroundings. It was like staying in hell. Have I finally passed the thunder retribution? A cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. He raised his head and looked through a large hole in the ceiling of the villa. He could clearly see a huge dark cloud in the sky. At this moment, the dark cloud was no longer rolling, and a crack in the void in the depths seemed to have disappeared. The terrifying lightning power had completely disappeared between heaven and earth. It seemed that the last 81 red lightning bolts had finally exhausted the energy of the divine retribution, and the dangerous aura in the sky had also disappeared completely. In a few breaths, even the dark clouds in the sky quickly dissipated, and the original clear sky was restored. The surroundings were filled with fresh air, and it was refreshing. If it wasn't for the ruins around them and the cracks on the ground, as if it had been destroyed by a typhoon, people might have thought that nothing had happened. Fortunately, Yanhuang University's defense system blocked the red lightning. Otherwise, it would have been a disaster today. However, after the baptism of the lightning, I have gained a lot of benefits. Xia Ping clenched his fists. He could feel that after the baptism of the lightning, his body's strength and toughness had increased a lot, and his energy center had even absorbed a bit of the lightning power. After looking inside himself, he could vaguely see that there were lightning dragons swimming in the depths of his energy center, and it seemed to have resonated with the power of the lightning in the sky. If he continued to cultivate, he might be able to control the power of lightning. When that time came, it would be much easier for him to deal with the divine retribution again. This feeling. Xia Ping activated the incantation in his body. He suddenly had a thought. Chapter 434. Who are you people? Xia Ping took the initiative and stared at these old men. We're all guardian elders of Yanhuang University. We're here to investigate the incident regarding the lightning phenomenon, an old man in black said immediately, revealing his identity. Young man. The one who spoke was an old man in gray. He had a cunning look on his face as he looked at Xia Ping with a smile. Let me ask you directly. Did you cause the lightning phenomenon just now? The group of old men stared at Xia Ping, not letting go of his every move. If the terrifying phenomenon just now was caused by this young man, then the reason behind it was worth investigating. They had to find out. After all, such a strange and terrifying phenomenon would even make kings feel afraid. If they did not know the reason, they would not be able to eat or sleep in peace. No, it's not. Hearing these words, Xia Ping denied it flatly. I was cultivating at home, and I don't know why I was struck by lightning. I don't even know who I can complain to. He showed a wronged expression, feeling very innocent. Without a doubt, if he admitted that he was the one who caused the heavenly punishment just now, it would definitely cause big trouble. He might even be captured and dissected for research. Therefore, he firmly denied that this matter had anything to do with him. Young man, don't lie. Yanhuang University is so big, but why didn't the lightning strike anywhere else but you? No one will believe you even if you say you have nothing to do with this matter, an old man in green said doubtfully. All of them were old fellows, and they'd experienced countless schemes and plots in order to advance into the king realm. So, they could be said to be shrewd with age. It was impossible to dispel the doubts in their hearts with just one sentence from Xiaoping. How would I know? Xiaoping spread his hands. You're asking me. I'm the one who wants to ask the heavens. Why didn't they strike anyone but me? Do I have a grudge against that bastard heavens? That's too unreasonable. He would never admit that this matter had anything to do with him. As long as he denied it, even if the higher-ups of Yanhuang University had doubts, they could not do anything to him. They would not be able to find any evidence at all. What do you guys think? This kid really doesn't seem to know anything. A black-robed elder secretly transmitted his voice. The air trembled, and his voice was transmitted to the ears of the surrounding elders. However, Xiaoping didn't hear anything. This was a unique technique. Not necessarily. Maybe this kid is just pretending. But this kid is just a new student. It's impossible for him to attract the wrath of the heavens. That's right. Even a king might not be able to trigger such a divine punishment. Perhaps it was just a coincidence that the lightning struck his room. How could there be so many coincidences? I, on the other hand, feel that this matter must be closely related to this kid. That makes sense. This brat is only a martial master, but he did not turn to ashes after being baptized by lightning. No matter how I think about it, it is strange. Why don't we check his body and see what's wrong with him? That's fine. I'll find an excuse to check his body. Maybe I'll find something. If this brat was the one who triggered the divine retribution, then his body must be hiding some secrets. Many old men secretly transmitted their voices and decided on a countermeasure in a few words. Young man. At this point, the black-robed elder said, you were attacked by lightning just now. Perhaps your body has suffered irrecoverable injuries. If you don't treat it in time, it might leave a hidden danger. Why don't you let me check your body and see what's wrong with it? We can find some countermeasures in time. Hearing this, Xiaoping gave them a sidelong glance and said in disdain, check my ass. I don't know anything about my body. It can't be any better. It would be easy for me to kill a few ferocious tigers. You guys said so much just to find an excuse to check my body and see if it has anything to do with this divine retribution. Are you guys suspecting me? He exposed the purpose of these people without any hesitation. This. The black-robed elder and the others were speechless. They originally wanted to put forward their ideas tactfully, but they didn't expect this kid to not give them any face and expose them directly. Young man, don't be so impulsive. We have our reasons for suspecting you. The green-robed elder said, the lightning in the sky didn't strike anyone but you. It's like divine retribution. Perhaps you've cultivated some sort of evil cultivation technique that caused the heavens to be infuriated and send down lightning. At this point, he didn't conceal it any longer and directly spoke of the guesses in his heart. The other old men nodded as well. An evil cultivation technique? You think I've cultivated some sort of evil cultivation technique just because of this guess? How laughable! Xiaoping cried out. All right, I won't resist and allow all of you to check my body. But let me make it clear first. If all of you can't find anything, then how will you compensate me? Compensate you? The black-robed elder and the others were stunned. They'd never expected that Xiaoping would actually speak like this. After all, they were king realm experts that were supreme existences that were feared by countless people. They were existences that could split the world apart and become kings. If anyone dared to ask them to compensate them, then that person would be tired of living. But this kid wasn't afraid at all, and he even wanted them to compensate him. It was like they owed this kid a few million and hadn't paid him back. His attitude was boundlessly arrogant. Who exactly is a king realm expert now? Of course I have to compensate you. Xiaoping spoke as a matter of course. All of you frequently check my body and suspect me. If news of this matter were to spread, then my reputation would be completely ruined. Everyone would say that I've cultivated an evil cultivation technique that drew the wrath of the heavens. Would I be able to meet others in the future? Would anyone look up to me when I go out? If news of this matter were to spread back to my hometown, would my parents still be able to hold their heads up high? I was already unlucky enough to be a victim. I was cultivating at home when I was struck by lightning for no reason and almost suffered chi deviation. My foundation in the martial Dao was completely destroyed. What about all of you? All of you barged into my house and shouted to kill me. You said that I was the culprit behind this calamity and that I've cultivated some sort of evil cultivation technique. You casually accused and slandered me, and it brought me great mental harm. Now tell me, is it too much for me to ask for compensation and compensation for mental harm? He spoke boldly and confidently. This. The black-robed elder and the others were speechless. Even though they knew that this fellow was speaking nonsense and trying to distort the truth, they didn't know why, but they actually felt that it wasn't too much for this kid to ask for compensation. Chapter 436. What? Hearing the black-clothed old man's words, the others were shocked and looked at him in disbelief. Are you crazy? Someone next to him secretly said, this marrow-cleansing pill is made from 81 precious pills. The main ingredient is the heart of a king-level demonic beast. After taking it, although it won't increase your cultivation by much, it can make you reborn, improve your aptitude, and break through bottlenecks. You don't know how precious this pill is. It's worth more than 1,000,000 points. You took it out now? The other old men couldn't help but nod. Although this kind of pill wasn't very beneficial to king-level demonic beasts like them, they had many descendants who needed this kind of marrow-cleansing pill. However, this kind of pill was extremely difficult to make. Every pill was priceless, and many people wanted to have it. Previously, they had asked the black-clothed old man for it, but they were all rejected. Now, he was giving it to this young man as compensation. It was too extravagant. It's okay. This young man has extraordinary talent. He is qualified to take this pill. The black-clothed old man smiled. He didn't care, but everyone around knew that he was appreciative of Xiaoping's talent. If he didn't think Xiaoping was a promising talent, he would never take out this kind of pill. Xiaoping rolled his eyes. Although he couldn't hear the old man's words, he could tell from the looks of the people around him that this bottle of pill was very precious. He stretched out his hand and immediately grabbed the bottle of pills. Without any trace of politeness, he said, "Elder, thank you. I will reluctantly accept this compensation." This cunning young man. The black-clothed old man was stunned. He didn't expect Xiaoping to act so quickly. It was like he was a thief. But then he smiled and didn't think much of it. He just thought that Xiaoping was indeed clever. Forget it. Let's leave it at that. He waved his hand and wanted to leave with the group of people. Since it was proven that Xiaoping had nothing to do with this matter, there was no need for them to stay. Oh right. Before the black-clothed old man left, Xiaoping shouted, "This villa has a big hole in it. I didn't do it. It was a natural disaster. It was an accident. Will the school pay for this?" He also wanted the black-clothed old man to pay for the repair of the villa. Go to the academic affairs office. The black-robed old man's face darkened. Xiaoping's words almost caused him to stagger. He waved his hand, and the corner of his mouth twitched a little. He didn't stop and walked away, afraid that Xiaoping would catch him again and ask for more compensation. This kind of back view gave off the feeling that he was in a panic and didn't know where to go. The others sped up as well and left swiftly. They could be said to be afraid of this shameless kid because he was the first person amongst the students of Yanhuang University to dare to extort money from a King Realm expert right in front of their faces. A few minutes later, these protector elders quickly left, leaving only Xiaoping alone in the huge villa. Primordial marrow cleansing pill. I've gained a lot this time. Xia Ping opened the white porcelain bottle and immediately saw a round golden pill that emitted a dense medicinal aura. He immediately knew that this pill was definitely not simple. Its value probably surpassed the mysterious Yin pill and other pills he had obtained before. It was definitely the kind that was priceless. He didn't expect that he would really be able to extort it from these protector elders. He was really lucky. But I didn't expect to be able to hide from the detection of a King Realm expert and hide the true essence on my body without a trace. It's really amazing. It's worthy of the Golden Crow of Hell bloodline. Xia Ping just tried it, but the effect was beyond his imagination. He didn't expect that even a King Realm expert couldn't find anything wrong with him. In this way, he got a very useful ability. By the way, system, has my hatred value increased during this period of time? Xia Ping immediately asked. He remembered that he had offended a lot of people in the Cloud Mountain range, so he should have gotten a lot of hatred value. The system said, currently, the host has a total of 6.95 million hatred value. What's going on? Xia Ping was shocked. He remembered that he had spent 5 million hatred value in order to fuse with the Golden Crow of Hell bloodline, and he had already spent most of his hatred value. But now that he woke up, he had more than 6 million hatred value, which was too exaggerated. He asked carefully and found that he had provoked a King Realm expert, causing the other party to have a strong killing intent, which earned him a lot of hatred value. In addition, there were also many people who hated him, wanted to kill him, and so on. So now he had a total of 6.95 million hatred value, which was a huge sum. It was even more than before he fused with the Golden Crow of Hell bloodline. But the Nye family has a killing intent on me, which is not good. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. The Nye family represented the King Realm in the Cloud Realm, and its power was many times greater than the Su family in Huajing. If the two were compared, one was a divine dragon, and the other was an ant. They couldn't be mentioned in the same breath, and the threat was completely different, which made him feel extremely pressured. There seems to be a bounty order from the Nye family. Xia Ping also found out about the Nye family's bounty order on the internet. This bounty order was posted on the internet, and it seemed that the Nye family didn't hide it at all and was open and aboveboard. It was estimated that they also hoped that the news would spread quickly. They wanted to find Wu Wudi as soon as possible and kill him to take revenge. TSK, amazing. Xia Ping looked at the bounty order and was also amazed. 500 billion federal coins, a treasured weapon, and a century-old turtle longevity pill. The Nye family is really generous. Even I can't help but be tempted. I want to submit my head. Even he was so tempted, let alone other warriors. It was estimated that at this time, the entire Cloud Realm was boiling. Who knew how many people wanted to take his head and send it to the Nye family to receive the bounty? Originally, he thought that his disguise should be flawless, but there was no guarantee that some capable person would appear somewhere and expose his true identity. At that time, he was afraid that he would have to face the anger of the Nye family and the Wolf King Nye Wudao. I have to become stronger. Xia Ping clenched his fists, and an endless sense of urgency surged in his heart. Even the little pride of advancing to the martial master realm disappeared. Compared to the Nye family and the Wolf King Nye Wudao, his current achievements were not worth mentioning. If his identity was exposed, he would be hunted down from all over the world. Chapter 437. After another day, the villa that had been destroyed by the lightning had been repaired by the construction workers of Yanhuang University. It was as good as new, and Xia Ping didn't need to pay anything. After all, this was a natural disaster, and Xia Ping couldn't be blamed. Whoosh! Xia Ping sat in the quiet room and took a deep breath. The true yuan in his body formed a cycle, and a faint shadow of a golden crow appeared behind him. The air shook inexplicably. Amazing! As expected of the primordial chaos marrow cleansing pill. Its effect is really good. Xia Ping praised. He immediately took the pill from the guardian elder of Yanhuang University. In the end, he found that this pill was extremely powerful. A huge amount of medicinal power flowed into his body, seeping into his bone marrow and refining it, making his body twice as strong. Because of this primordial chaos marrow cleansing pill, the speed at which he absorbed the spirit chi of the world doubled. It seemed that his martial talent had also improved a lot. At the same time, the huge medicinal power helped him open up the 14th and 15th meridians. The true yuan in his body greatly increased, and he received endless benefits. As expected of a king. There are simply too many treasures on him. Just a random medicinal pill is enough to benefit me immensely. Xia Ping could clearly sense the wealth of a king. It was definitely extraordinary. That's right. That's right. Just this primordial chaos marrow cleansing pill was enough to make countless martial artists fight over it. Its value was no less than the water of life. With a snap, Xia Ping suddenly stood up from the ground. His muscles and bones crackled and popped, like the thunder of tigers and leopards, displaying the tyrannical strength of his physique. His body moved slightly, and a series of air explosions sounded around his arms. This was a phenomenon caused by his muscles rapidly vibrating and controlling the airflow. But now it's time to go to the administration office and become an elite student. Xia Ping clenched his fists. Elite students were students that were one level higher than ordinary students. After becoming an elite student, they would have all kinds of privileges in Yanhuang University, and they would even have discounts when exchanging items. More importantly, after becoming an elite student, he would be an important figure in Yanhuang University. Anyone who wanted to deal with him would have to think twice and not dare to be presumptuous. If Xia Ping could become an elite student, then no matter if it was in Yanhuang University or within the giant company, his status would greatly increase, and he would receive the recognition of the higher-ups. At that time, even if his identity was exposed by the Wolf King, Nye Wudao, he wouldn't have to worry about the Nye family's revenge. Thus, he was determined to become an elite student. However, it was not easy to become an elite student. Advancing to the martial master realm was only a prerequisite. After that, he still had to complete the trial mission issued by the school. Only after he succeeded could he become an elite student. Therefore, Xia Ping wanted to go to Yanhuang University's Academic Affairs Office to accept the promotion to elite student mission and complete the elite student assessment. Half an hour later, Xia Ping left the villa and headed for the Academic Affairs Office of Yanhuang University. The Academic Affairs Office of Yanhuang University was a building complex that took up a large area. Modern skyscrapers stood in great numbers, and each building had its own function. Some were in charge of issuing missions, some were in charge of trials and assessments, some were in charge of exchanging points, and so on. There were many students who needed to go in and out of the Academic Affairs Office on normal days. Not long after, Xia Ping arrived at the hall on the first floor of a building through the school map. This was the place that was specially in charge of assessing elite students and issuing assessment missions. At this time, many students appeared in the hall on the first floor. All of them were at the Martial Master Realm, and most of them were at the first heaven of Martial Master Realm. Obviously, they had just advanced to the Martial Master Realm. Among them, there were also senior students like Mu Haran and Zhu Zijian. They had endured for 3 years and finally advanced to the Martial Master Realm. Naturally, there was no need for them to continue enduring. They also wanted to become elite students of Yanhuang University. Look, Xia Ping is here. Immediately, many seniors recognized Xia Ping's appearance and pointed at him. What is he doing here? This is the place for the elite student assessment. How can a new student come here? Don't you know? This kid has already advanced to the Martial Master Realm and has long qualified to become an elite student. Now that he is here, he wants to be promoted to an elite student, just like us. You must be joking. This kid is just a new student. He hasn't been in school for long, and he wants to be promoted to an elite student? How can his cultivation speed be so fast? Even if he takes pills, it won't be like this. It's really infuriating to compare oneself with others. We have cultivated to the Martial Master Realm. God knows how much effort and resources we have spent. It's not an exaggeration to say that it's an astronomical figure. Now this bastard can casually break through to the martial master realm and even wants to become an elite student. Does he have the qualifications to be on equal footing with us now? It's not just on equal footing. He is simply suppressing us. With such talent, the martial master realm is definitely not his limit. When it comes to the grandmaster realm or even the king realm, we will still have to look up to him and flatter him. Fuck, we still have to look up to him and flatter him. I would rather die. Many students felt extremely aggrieved. They remembered how badly they had been beaten by Xiaoping before. They had lost all their dignity and all of them wanted to take revenge. However, they did not expect that this kid could break through as easily as drinking water. Not long after, he could be on equal footing with them, and he might even suppress them in the future. So what if he has good talent? If his character is not good, he can't do anything. Yesterday, I heard that this kid was just staying at home, but he was struck by lightning. Even the guardian elder was alarmed. Zhu Zijian was very indignant. I also heard about this. Yesterday's horror seemed to be related to the arrival of heaven's punishment. Because of this, Yanhuang University's energy was lost, and they indirectly lost more than 300 billion federal coins. Fuck, didn't they say that Yanhuang University has installed an extremely powerful defense system? Even if there is lightning falling from the sky, it will be guided to other places. How can they be struck by lightning? That's why I said that the kid has done so much evil that even God couldn't stand it anymore. The lightning that fell was too terrifying, and even Yanhuang University's defense system couldn't withstand it. If that's the case, why didn't the lightning directly strike this scourge to death? This way, everything will be over, and everyone will be at peace. Yanhuang University will have a bright future. He's not dead yet. If this kid continues to be like this, sooner or later, God will strike this bastard to death. One by one, the seniors gritted their teeth and spoke in a low voice. They were all angry with Xiaoping, but they did not dare to speak out. Even when they cursed, they only dared to curse Xiaoping secretly and did not dare to say anything. After all, if Xiaoping heard it, they would probably be beaten up. Chapter 438. Xiaoping ignored the discussions of the students around him. He walked straight to the front desk and immediately said to a teacher in a black suit, "I want to be promoted to an elite student." He was simple and direct. The teacher in the black suit glanced at Xiaoping and seemed to recognize him. His originally serious face could not help but reveal a kind smile as he said warmly, "Oh, so it's student Xia. You're indeed amazing. In just a few months, you've actually advanced to the martial master realm. No wonder you're an unparalleled genius that even the guardian elders praise. However, with your aptitude and martial cultivation, it's certain that you'll be promoted to an elite student. According to Yanhuang University's rules, you still need to complete missions to be promoted." He explained the process of becoming an elite student in detail. His attitude was very amiable. Holy shit, what's going on? What's going on? Is this still the iron-faced and emotionless teacher Yan? Why is he so kind now? He's like the uncle next door. A senior student immediately exclaimed as he looked at this scene in disbelief. The other students were also shocked. They also knew this teacher in a black suit. He was known to be impartial and no student dared to be impudent in front of him. If they didn't complete the mission properly, they would be berated. Whether you were a commoner or a descendant of a king, this teacher in a black suit was impartial and merciless. He did not care what the other party's identity was. Some people had tried to bribe this teacher in a black suit, but they were all humiliated in front of everyone. They were beaten black and blue, and even the mission was judged to have failed. Who knew how many senior students had eaten the dust in front of him? But now, this stern and emotionless teacher with a paralyzed face was actually smiling. His attitude was so amiable. This was too exaggerated. What kind of mission? Xiaoping asked. The man in the black suit said with a smile, Originally, the mission to be promoted to an elite student was randomly assigned. However, you're an exception. There are many missions here. You can pick one. With a wave of his hand, a virtual projection immediately popped up. A large number of missions were listed on it, densely packed together. That's right, this mission to clean up the bats in the dark cave is not bad. You just need to set a fire in the cave and you'll be able to burn all these bats to death. The man in the black suit pointed out, you can also do this mission. Head to the deep pool in the eastern valley 3,000 miles away to search for the black jade pearl. There aren't any powerful demonic beasts in that valley. With your strength, you can sweep through them. There's also the mission to raise 10,000 golden horn goats in Wanyang City. There's basically no danger involved. You just have to bring the goats to the mountains to graze. They always escape easily. It's said that the leader of the wind-chasing bandits is a third heaven of martial master. He also has some martial master experts under him. His power is not small. It's not easy to kill these wind-chasing bandits. Even among the many missions, this mission is one of the most difficult. I think you should change to another mission. He put forward his own suggestion, worried about Xia Ping's safety. After all, he had heard from the guardian elder that this was a peerless genius who was listed as a key target of the school's training. He could directly be promoted to an elite student. If he took on a dangerous mission and was killed by those bandits, then Yanhuang University would suffer a heavy loss. It's okay. I don't care about these wind-chasing bandits. Even if I can't beat them, I can still escape. Xia Ping's eyes were extremely firm. He wanted to get this mission. Because he wanted to quickly advance to a higher realm, he had to engage in life-and-death battles with more enemies. In the bloody slaughter, his martial arts cultivation would progress rapidly. Even if he had a large number of hatred points and could exchange them for countless precious pills, it did not mean that he could continue to advance as long as he took a large number of pills. If he took too many pills, his body would produce antibodies, and there would not be much effect even if he wanted to take them in the future. Therefore, Xia Ping had to completely refine the medicinal power of the pills in his body before he could take other precious pills. This way, his martial arts foundation would be solid and there would be no huge bottlenecks. Right now, fighting with ferocious enemies was the fastest way for him to improve. Therefore, he would not choose those simple missions. Instead, he would choose those dangerous missions. As expected of a student that the elder has taken a liking to. You really have backbone. The federal government had issued a wanted order with an extremely high bounty. However, the Windchaser bandits were still free and unfettered so far. On the contrary, all the police officers who came to hunt them down were killed. They even hung their heads on cliffs to provoke the federal government. As a result, the Federation government was enraged and issued a mission to Yanhuang University, hoping that the elite students would take action and kill all of these brazen Windchaser bandits. The wind-chasing bandits come and go like the wind. They move and leave no trace. Therefore, many federal police officers have been searching for them for a long time, but they still can't locate them. Xia Ping's eyes flickered as he looked at the information. They are also extremely cunning. When they encounter powerful federal police, they will hide and disappear for a year and a half, waiting for the limelight to blow over. When they encounter weak federal police officers, they will set up traps and kill them as a warning to others. Until now, countless federal police officers, caravan members, innocent women, and children have died tragically in the hands of the Windchaser bandits. They are a great scourge. However, no matter how cunning these Windchaser bandits were, the federal police had found some clues about them and confirmed that the base of these Windchaser bandits was near Western Wilderness City. However, Western Wilderness City was too big. It covered an area of countless square kilometers. It was surrounded by barren mountains and wild mountains. In the distance, there was also a vast desert. From time to time, demonic beasts would appear. This made it extremely difficult for the federal government to track them. They had never been able to eradicate this group of bandits, allowing them to roam free for many years. This made the Windchaser bandits even more arrogant. It seems that if I want to find the Windchaser bandits, I must let the local bullies of Western Wilderness City go personally. If these local bullies don't know where the Windchaser bandits are, then no one will. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. As long as he knew the whereabouts of a Windchaser bandits, he could use the 10,000 miles tracking technique to track them down and kill them in one fell swoop. He decided to let the local bullies help him find the whereabouts of the Windchaser bandits after he arrived at Western Wilderness City. Several days later, Xia Ping's radiant god immediately arrived at Western Wilderness City's airport. Although Western Wilderness City was an underworld city and was extremely chaotic, it was still very orderly on the surface. There were many modern high-rise buildings in the city. There were many hover cars flying around on the roads. All kinds of shops were incomparably flourishing, looking full of vitality. Even an ordinary city would not have such vitality. However, on the surface, the people living here were all strong and powerful. Even the women were fierce like ferocious beasts. There were knife scars on their faces and they could lift a ton with a single hand. None of the people living here were to be trifled with. When Xia Ping's radiant god landed at Western Wilderness City's airport, it immediately attracted the attention of many people. TSK, it can't be, radiant god? Isn't this an extremely luxurious private spaceship? A spaceship like this is worth tens of billions of federal coins. Unless you're a nouveau riche, you won't be able to afford it. That's to be expected. Just the fuel to fly this spaceship costs tens of thousands of federal coins every day. The monthly maintenance fee is money that ordinary people can't earn in their entire lives. Just where did this young master come from? He actually came to Western Wilderness City. Is he courting death? I guess it's some young master who wants to come here to have some fun. Although this kind of thing is rare, it's not unheard of. We have to let this young master experience the rules of Western Wilderness City. Many people of Western Wilderness City were discussing spiritedly. Staring at the descending radiant god, their eyes revealed a trace of ferocity. It was like a ferocious beast that was choosing its prey, containing a trace of greed. With a slap, Xia Ping walked out of the spaceship. So. Immediately, a man in a suit with a knife scar on his face ran over. With a flattering expression, he said, "Young master, may I know what business you have in Western Wilderness City?" "I'm not bragging, but I, Hu-san, have lived in Western Wilderness City for 20 to 30 years. There are very few things that I don't know." Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and looked at the distance. There seemed to be a few dozen men who wanted to come over. However, when they saw this knife-scarred man coming over, none of them dared to approach, as if they were very afraid of this knife-scarred man. Somewhat interesting. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He also knew that this was the way of survival for these people at the bottom of the underworld city. It was to provide their own information to the underworld and then obtain rewards. And he just so happened to need such a person. Chapter 440. What? Hearing these words, the surrounding people were all shocked. Even if they were beaten to death, they would never have thought that this kid would actually say such words. After all, even though the Windchaser bandits were not the biggest bandit group in Western Desolation City, they were still considered to be relatively strong. Moreover, the wind-chasing bandits were a bandit group that had survived for a long time in the Western Wilderness City. They had survived the siege of the federal police several times and were already famous in the Western Wilderness City. It could be said that everyone knew about them. "Young master, what do you want to find the wind-chasing bandits for?" the scarred man, Hu-san, asked. Xia Ping said matter-of-factly, "To kill them, of course." Kill them? Many people were shocked. It was their first time hearing such a simple and direct reason. "Young master, perhaps you don't know this, but the wind-chasing bandits are not people to be trifled with. There were a few people who tried to find trouble with the wind-chasing bandits, but they were all killed. Their heads were hung on the cliff as a warning to others. The scarred man, Husan, vaguely reminded Xia Ping about how scary the wind-chasing bandits were. They were not people who could be trifled with. They are just some lowly bandits. I can kill them with a wave of my hand. Xia Ping said casually, to be honest, I accepted a mission from the school to kill the wind-chasing bandits. I came to the Western Wilderness City this time to find the base of the wind-chasing bandits and kill them all. If you have any clues, feel free to tell me. I will reward you handsomely. He revealed a rich and overbearing look. Kill them all. Everyone was speechless. The corner of their mouths twitched. Did this young master really think that the wind-chasing bandits were some big shots? They were the bandits that dominated the Western Wilderness. They were extremely cruel and killed people like flies. They had been besieged by the federal police several times and faced a desperate situation several times. However, they always survived. From this, it could be seen how scary the wind-chasing bandits were. However, this young master, who was obviously a kid who had not even graduated, actually wanted to find trouble with the wind-chasing bandits in the Western Wilderness City. He even wanted to kill all the wind-chasing bandits in one fell swoop. If this wasn't crazy, then what was? The knife-scarred man, Husan, was also speechless. He could tell that this kid was clearly a young master who didn't know the ways of the world. He didn't even know the evils of society. This brat probably thought that the Windchaser bandits and the other vicious bandits were the same as the subordinates he usually fought with. That was why he was so fearless and rashly came to Western Desolation City to die. If they were at home, perhaps the family members would still be courteous to this young master because of his identity. But in the outside world, they would not have such benefits when they encountered these ruthless criminals. After all, these Windchaser bandits were all fugitives. If they were caught, they would be sentenced to death. What was there for them to be afraid of? No matter how powerful their background was, it was just a fart in front of them. Young master, I advise you to think twice. It's better to leave the task of chasing and killing criminals to the police. Such a dirty task is not suitable for you. The knife-scarred man, Husan, advised, actually, there are many fun places in Western Desolation City. There are some exotic beauties, and there are even beauties from the demon race. If young master is willing, Xia Ping waved his hand and stopped him from continuing. He said disdainfully, think twice my ass. Are you looking down on me? They are just some trash bandits. All of them are rats that only know how to hide underground. When they meet the strong, they will hide. When they meet the weak, they will gang up on them. All of them are cowards that bully the weak and fear the strong. Why would I be afraid of rats like them? What a joke. If you don't know any clues about them, then hurry up and get lost. Don't be a hindrance here. If you stop me from killing the Windchaser bandits and make a name for yourself in the school in the future, be careful that I don't take your dog life. He was arrogant and despotic. He didn't listen to the knife-scarred man, Husan, at all. What a hothead. This brat was definitely a hothead. The knife-scarred man, Husan, and the others were completely speechless. Talking to such a stubborn young master, no matter what they said, this brat would definitely not listen to them. To be honest, it wasn't the first time they had seen a young master with a stone in his head. However, it was the first time they had seen such a stubborn young master who didn't listen to advice and insisted on seeking death. Alright, if you insist on finding the nest of the Windchaser bandits, perhaps there is an organization in this city that will know. The knife-scarred man, Husan, had no choice but to say so. What organization? Xia Ping asked. The knife-scarred man, Husan, said in a deep voice, I can't help. Although this gang isn't the biggest gang in Western Desolation City, they have gathered all the lowly people. All the beggars on the streets are their people. They have eyes everywhere. It can be said that they are the most well-informed organization in this city. If you need help from this gang, you will definitely be able to find some clues. However, their fees are very high. They are the kind that eat people without spitting out the bones. Previously, when the federal police came to Western Desolation City, they also wanted to find the Windchaser bandits. However, they were scared off by the high fees. In the end, they could only rely on themselves. High fees? Xia Ping said in disdain, perhaps you still don't know. I don't have much, but I have a lot of money. How much is it to find information? 300 million, 1 billion, or even a few billion. What the fuck? Everyone was scared silly. The number that this kid said was beyond their imagination. The feeling of money was completely different. They were people from different worlds. To them, hundreds of thousands of federal coins was a huge amount. However, this kid easily said hundreds of millions of federal coins. He simply didn't treat money as money. However, thinking about it carefully, it was normal. This kid could even drive a private spaceship like the Radiant God. A mere hundreds of millions of federal coins was nothing to him. This doesn't need that much. The knife-scarred man, Hussein, had a sullen expression. His face was as black as charcoal. He felt that the money he thought was a lot was nothing in the other party's eyes. Alright, cut the crap. Immediately lead the way. If you find that guy, I will heavily reward you. With a slap, Xia Ping grabbed a large stack of cash and smashed it on the knife-scarred man, Hussein. With a crashing sound, a large number of notes fell to the ground. The surrounding people were all dumbfounded. 100,000 federal coins. Just these notes alone amounted to 100,000 federal coins. Rich and overbearing. Casually giving out 100,000 federal coins as if he was sprinkling water. If this wasn't rich and overbearing, then what was? The surrounding people's eyes turned green. If they knew that this kid was so rich, they would have rushed up and snatched the knife-scarred man's job even if they were beaten to death. The knife-scarred man, Hussein, was extremely excited. His hands moved like the wind and quickly grabbed the 100,000 federal coins. With a face full of flattery, he said, "Young master, this way please, this way please. The help is not far ahead." He immediately turned into a loyal lackey and no longer had the slightest intention of obstructing. Chapter 441. Western Desolation City. On a street paved with white jade, there were tall buildings on both sides. There were restaurants, nightclubs, casinos, bars, brothels, and other facilities. It was extremely prosperous. There were many experts in uniforms standing around with ferocious expressions. They were checking the pedestrians passing by, as if to prevent people with bad intentions from causing trouble. This street was the famous lawless street of Western Desolation City. It was a street occupied by the lawless gang, and the lawless gang's headquarters was at the end of the street, in a high-rise building that was more than 100 stories tall. "Young master, this is the lawless gang's headquarters." The person who spoke was the scarred man, Hussein. He had a fawning look on his face and was submissive like a lackey as he spoke to Xia Ping. Xia Ping looked around and found that he had arrived at the end of the street. There was a tall building in front of him, and there was a plaque on the door with the words "Lawless Gang" written on it. There were many tyrannical experts standing around this building. They were all at least in the martial warrior realm. They exuded a valiant aura and looked extremely ferocious. "Stop!" Seeing Xia Ping and Hussein approaching, a guard shouted angrily, "This is the lawless gang's headquarters. Unauthorized people are not allowed to approach. Violators will be killed without mercy." His voice was like thunder, like a ferocious tiger from the western regions, roaring endlessly and brimming with murderous intent. Ordinary people would be scared out of their wits if they heard such a voice. "Sir." Hussein immediately went up and rubbed his hands together with a fawning expression. "We are here to buy information from lawless gang. I wonder if you can make an exception." "Make an exception my ass." Xia Ping took a step forward and shouted, "This young master is here to help, but you can't. "You lackeys, how dare you obstruct this young master?" With a smack, he took out a pile of things and threw them at the guard. "What?" Hearing this, the guard beside him immediately flew into a rage. There was actually someone who dared to openly attack a guard in the lawless gang's headquarters. This person was courting death. However, before they could react, a pile of banknotes hit them. With a clattering sound, a total of 100,000 federal coins fell to the ground and scattered all over. Immediately, the nearby guards were dumbfounded. Although they had seen a lot of money, it was rare for someone to casually take out 100,000 federal coins and throw them at someone. This. Immediately, the anger of the guards at the scene disappeared completely. After all, money was used to smash people, and the amount was not small, so they couldn't be angry at all. At the same time, they also knew that Xiaoping was not someone who wanted to cause trouble, so they had no reason to chase him out. What's with all the noise? At this moment, a middle-aged man dressed in black walked out. He walked with a majestic gait and an extraordinary aura. Impressively, he was an expert in the martial master realm, at least in the third heaven of the martial master realm. He came to the door and scanned the surroundings with a dignified gaze. At the same time, he saw a pile of notes on the ground. "Supervisor, this gentleman wants to buy information." A guard immediately stepped forward and reported what had just happened in fear and trepidation, not daring to hide anything. That was because this middle-aged man was one of the higher-ups of the helplessness sect. His power was monstrous, and a single word from him could take his life. How could he dare to speak such impudent lies? "So it's a distinguished guest. My apologies for not going out to welcome you, my apologies for not going out to welcome you. My subordinates don't know how to appreciate favors and have caused trouble for you. Please come in, please come in." The black-clothed middle-aged man was full of smiles. A person who could casually take out 100,000 federal coins to smash people, if such a person wasn't an honored guest, then what was? Wasn't the reason why the helplessness sect was able to develop and grow stronger because of the support from so many rich people? For such a distinguished guest, they didn't dare to neglect him at all. Xiaoping nodded and followed the middle-aged man in black into a VIP room of the building and sat down. As for the scar-faced man, Husan, he had completed his mission and left. In the VIP room, a few women in revealing clothes immediately appeared next to him. They came up to serve Xiaoping with tea and water. "Young master, what do you want from the helplessness sect?" The middle-aged man in black went straight to the point. The helplessness sect is one of the largest gangs in Western Wilderness City. They have many subordinates all over Western Wilderness and a good reputation. As long as there's enough money, anything can be done. He was full of confidence. Hearing this, Xiaoping immediately said, "I want to know the nest of the wind-chasing bandits." "What?" When the people next to him heard this, they were all shocked. They didn't expect that the kid in front of them would want to know the location of the wind-chasing bandits' nest. Everyone was shocked. The wind-chasing bandits' nest? Hearing this, the middle-aged man in black's eyes flickered. "I wonder why this young master wants to know the location of the wind-chasing bandits' nest? Can I know the reason?" "It's very simple. I accepted a mission in school to kill the wind-chasing bandits." Xiaoping said straightforwardly, "This time, I came to Western Wilderness City to chop off their heads, make a name for myself and stand out." The people next to him twitched their mouths. This reason was really simple. Indeed, many students were very naive, thinking that killing some vicious criminals would make them famous. The problem was that these vicious criminals, who had committed crimes for many years, were not easy to kill. Even some experienced criminals had died in the hands of these bandits. Obviously, this inexperienced playboy wanted to make trouble for them. Obviously, he wanted to die. The middle-aged man in black was also speechless. He tried to dissuade him, "This young master, with all due respect, these wind-chasing bandits have been ruthless in Western Wilderness City for more than 10 years. I don't know how many people they have killed. The federal police have chased after them several times, but they always escaped. They are not easy to deal with. He vaguely reminded Xiaoping that the wind-chasing bandits were not easy to deal with. It's okay. Xiaoping waved his hand and said carelessly, to be honest, I specially brought the brilliant god with me this time. It is equipped with all kinds of high-tech weapons, and its force is no less than that of any warship. It can even kill experts in the Master Realm. As long as I know where the nest of the wind-chasing bandits is, I will immediately go there with the brilliant god. First, I will baptize them with thousands of missiles, then I will sweep them with a few neutron bombs. The nuclear bombs will flatten dozens of mountains, and they will die without a whole body. If they are still alive after that, I will kill them slowly. I will sweep them with lasers and turn their bodies into beehives. I don't believe that these wind-chasing bandits have 3 heads and 6 arms. What the hell? Hearing these words, the people around were dumbfounded and felt a chill run down their spine. If that was the case, no matter how powerful the wind-chasing bandits were, they would be killed dozens of times. I don't believe that I can't find those earth-gutter rats and wind-chasing bandits with a few 100 million. He made a show of impatience. The mouths of the people at the side twitched. This hedonistic son had come to Western Desolation City to cause trouble for the wind chaser bandits, and it was as easy as playing a game. He really looked down on the wind chaser bandits. In any case, the wind chaser bandits were considered to be ferocious bandits. Speaking in such a manner was not giving them any face at all. Don't worry. Hearing Xiaoping's disdainful words of being unable to help, the black-clothed middle-aged man's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. However, he still maintained his composure and said, when it comes to finding information, in a place like Western Huang City, if I can't claim to be number 1, then no one would dare to claim to be number 2. 1 day is more than enough. His tone was resolute. That's good. I'll wait for you for a day. Xiaoping said, I'm currently staying in the presidential suite of Western Huang City's Starlight Hotel. If there's any news, go there and inform me. After saying this, he stood up and left. Very quickly, he left the immeasurable gang's headquarters. The black-clothed middle-aged man's eyes flickered. Looking at Xiaoping's departing back, he asked one of his subordinates, is this kid really a tycoon? Doesn't he see money as money? One of his subordinates immediately said, he really is a tycoon. The person who brought him here just now is Western Huang City's famous rat, Husan. He saw with his own eyes that the other party drove a private flying ship, the Radiant God. Although it had only been a short period of time, he had already investigated some of Xiaoping's information. He really is a tycoon. He even drove a private flying ship, the Radiant God. It's said that this kind of Radiant God is worth at least 30 billion federal coins. Not only that. Didn't they say that his flying ship is equipped with all kinds of high-tech weapons? I reckon that it's also been modified and armed to the teeth. It's worth at least 50 billion federal coins. Tisk TSK, with such firepower, even if he's an idiot, he can still rely on these weapons to kill bandits and big thieves. It's a complete suppression. Looks like the wind-chasing bandits are out of luck. He's just relying on his father's influence. Without his father, he's nothing. Everyone discussed among themselves. They were all envious and jealous of Xiaoping. But supervisor. The eyes of one of his subordinates flickered. Although the wind-chasing bandits are bandits who commit all kinds of crimes and kill people like flies, they always give all kinds of treasures to us every year. We've gained a lot from it. It can be said that the wind-chasing bandits' loot accounts for more than half of our profits. If the information about the wind-chasing bandits' lair is leaked, we'll suffer heavy losses even if we can't help. They had been secretly colluding with the wind-chasing bandits for a long time. In fact, it wasn't just their gang. The other gangs in Western Huang City also colluded with other bandits. They obtained a lot of benefits by robbing merchants, pedestrians, and so on. The problem is that we can't refuse. If we refuse, that kid can totally find other gangs for help. Another subordinate clenched his fist. Although the wind-chasing bandits' lair is very secretive, it's hard to guarantee that no other gangs know about it. With such a huge reward, there will always be loopholes. After all, the other gangs don't cooperate with the wind-chasing bandits. They're not close to them. They can totally betray us. He also pointed out the risk of refusing Xia Ping's cooperation. Indeed. With such a huge reward, no one can stay rational. Even if we can't help him, it doesn't mean that we're all united. Someone might betray us for the reward. That kid is a good-for-nothing and brainless. But he has the light god and can kill grandmasters. He's a great threat. We have to be careful about this. Otherwise, the wind-chasing bandits will be destroyed. Many people were talking about it. They were all nervous and serious. They had never thought that they would be forced into a corner by a good-for-nothing. Sometimes, the power of money was terrifying. As long as there was enough money, even grandmasters would die. Some people even looked at each other and began to doubt each other. Although they seemed to be on good terms now, if that good-for-nothing really offered a reward of hundreds of millions, there was no guarantee that someone would betray them. After all, with hundreds of millions in their hands, they could easily go to other safe cities to live, work, marry, and have children. I think you know very well how effective this wood spirit pill is. Even martial masters need it to cultivate. This is a best-selling product. Once it's launched, it'll be sold out immediately. This is a transaction worth 5 billion federal coins. It's no small matter. I hope that you can immediately open up a sales channel in Western Huang City and earn a lot of money. He was in high spirits and was in a very good mood. After all, this was a deal worth 5 billion federal coins, a rare big deal. After this matter was over, he didn't know how much money he would earn. Even if he went to visit a prostitute, he would be able to do so until the end of time. A deal worth 5 billion federal coins. Hearing this, the black-clothed middle-aged man was also very shocked. Even for the lawless gang, this was not a deal that could be underestimated. Once it succeeded, the entire gang would be able to benefit from it. Boss, actually, I have something to report this time. It's very important, Salander frowned. What is it? Speak. He instinctively felt that this matter was very troublesome. Otherwise, his subordinates wouldn't have deliberately come to disturb him when he was receiving an important guest. It's like this. Just now, a troublesome guest came to Western Huang City. The black-clothed middle-aged man cupped his hands and explained everything that had just happened in detail, not fearing the boss of the Windchasers, Ko Gao. However, after hearing the black-clothed middle-aged man's words, Ko Gao's expression became uglier and uglier. Without waiting for the black-clothed middle-aged man to finish speaking, he slammed his palm on the wooden table in front of him. A tyrannical force exploded, instantly shattering the table into pieces. How dare you! How dare you! Ko Gao roared, unable to restrain his anger. A brat who hasn't even grown his hair yet dares to imitate others and try to kill me, Ko Gao. He even wants to kill us to make a name for himself. Just who gave him such courage? Does he want to die? He was so angry that his nose was crooked. He didn't want to hear the black-clothed middle-aged man finish. To think that he, the Windchasers, had run amok in Western Huang for more than 10 years, committing all sorts of crimes and killing people like scything flax. It could be said that his reputation had reached the point where even children would stop crying. There was no one who wasn't afraid of him. Most people would have wet their pants long ago upon hearing the name of the Windchasers, and their legs would tremble. However, a rich kid from God knows where had come to Western Huang City, acting so arrogant and despotic, declaring that he wanted to kill all the Windchasers and take Ko Gao's head in order to make a name for himself. Xia Ping's heart moved and he immediately circulated the pure yang immortal incantation. His lava-like true essence instantly refined the aura, burning it cleanly, not affecting him in the slightest. Under his pure yang immortal secret art, he already had a physique that was immune to all poisons. A mere bewitching drug was simply unable to make him faint. However, in order to find the lair of these Windchaser bandits, he immediately decided to pretend to be unconscious. With a plop, Xia Ping fell to the ground, pretending to be unconscious. Beep! A few minutes later, the door to the presidential suite was opened, and 3 or 4 figures immediately walked in. When they saw the unconscious Xia Ping on the floor, they all laughed until their teeth could not be seen, and were extremely excited. "Ha, this is the young master who wants to destroy us Windchaser bandits and step on our heads to make a name for himself? You sure have a big mouth, but didn't I knock you out with just a little drug? What an idiot." One of the Windchaser bandits looked at Xia Ping with disdain, looking down on such a spoiled brat. He even wanted to spit on Xia Ping. Although he's an idiot and a spoiled brat, I have to say that he's a huge threat. A long-haired Windchaser bandit had a solemn expression as he clenched his fists. Another Windchaser bandit could not help but nod. Yes, luckily we knew of his existence in advance. Otherwise, if he spent hundreds of millions of federal coins to find out the location of our lair, and then used the illuminating god to baptize us with 1,000 missiles, we would definitely be dead or injured, and the entire Windchaser bandits would fall apart. Thinking of this, he shuddered. Even if this kid was an idiot and a spoiled brat, he was still a huge threat. The illuminating god was simply a killing machine. After all, no matter how fierce and powerful they were just bandits. How could they be compared to the weapons of the Federal Army, which were terrifying weapons used against the demon race? To bandits like them, it was like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Unfortunately, they met such a hothead who didn't treat money as money at all. Indeed, we're too lucky. Fortunately, this kid is stupid. His big mouth is shouting everywhere, as if he's afraid that others don't know he's here to deal with us Windchaser bandits. If it wasn't like that, how could we catch this idiot? Cut the crap. Quickly capture this kid and bring him back to our lair. We'll slowly deal with him. I want to see what kind of background this kid has. He actually dares to cause trouble for us Windchaser bandits. Yes, capture him and let's go. The Windchaser bandits glanced at each other. They could not stay here for too long. If they were discovered by others, their efforts would be in vain. They immediately lifted Xia Ping with dexterous hands and feet. A few minutes later, they left the Starlight Hotel without anyone noticing and boarded a hover car. With a rumble, they drove out of Western Huang City. After driving for 2 to 3 hours, they had traveled thousands of kilometers, passed through barren mountains, and finally arrived at a remote stone mountain that was thousands of meters tall. They hurriedly drove in. They saw that the center of the stone mountain had been hollowed out, revealing a huge space. There was also a stronghold inside, with many stone houses built. Because the stone walls were too thick and the stone was unique, it could isolate all kinds of electromagnetic signals. No tracking equipment could be used here. Soon, they drove all the way and arrived at the stronghold's meeting hall. At this moment, the higher-ups of the Windchaser bandits had already gathered here. Their boss, Ko Gao, was also among them. Xia Ping's hands and feet were tied with huge chains, like a criminal. With such chains, even a martial master would not be able to escape easily. Therefore, they were not afraid of how much trouble Xia Ping would cause when he woke up. "Wake him up," Ko Gao ordered. With a splash, one of the Windchaser bandits had already taken a bucket of water and poured it on Xia Ping's face. The cold water immediately woke Xia Ping up. Phew! If he was hit by this huge mace, the bones in his legs would be smashed into smithereens. Even with the current medical technology, it would be extremely difficult for him to fully recover. Want to kill me? You're courting death. With a boom, Xia Ping, who was originally like a sheep, suddenly erupted with a terrifying aura. It was as if he had suddenly turned into an ancient fierce beast. His body immediately emitted a terrifying red flame, and a faint shadow of a golden crow of hell appeared behind him. A huge light illuminated the surroundings, shining like the sun. Whoosh! Immediately, the steel chains that were originally tied around Xia Ping's body melted under the burning of the red flame, turning into a large amount of molten iron. Sizzle! A huge amount of thick smoke also rose from the ground, as if the molten iron had been corroded by the red molten iron. Potholes appeared on the ground, and the chains on Xia Ping's body were all melted. Ah ah ah! The bald wind chaser bandit was caught off guard and was immediately hit by the huge light from Xia Ping's body. His eyes were blinded by the light, and blood flowed out of his eyes. He could not help but cry out in pain. Xia Ping punched out and circulated the skill in his body. A strong force erupted from the depths of his body like a flood, crashing into the bald man's head. Dong! Immediately, the bald man's head exploded like a watermelon. This. The wind chaser bandits at the side were dumbfounded. They saw that the bald man was only left with a headless corpse, standing quietly on the spot. Blood dripped down from the corpse, and there was no longer any sign of life. They could not believe their eyes. This bald man was a martial master of the first heaven. It should have been easy for him to deal with this spoiled brat. But now, the young man's attack had exploded the bald man's head, and he had killed him with a single punch. He was extremely ferocious. This young man. The eyes of the leader of the wind chaser bandits, Ko Gao, could not help but narrow. At this moment, he really looked at Xia Ping, and he felt that the young man's body was filled with a threatening aura. Perhaps this young man was not the spoiled brat they had imagined, but a hungry wolf in sheep's clothing. Did you think that by capturing me and bringing me to this place, you would be able to defeat me? Little did you know, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, and his clothes fluttered even though there was no wind. You all wanted to kill me, but I also wanted to kill all of you in one fell swoop. You all thought that you were strong enough to capture me, but if I did not pretend to cooperate, how could you cowards even touch a hair on my head? I'll be straightforward. Today, you evil wind chaser bandits, don't even think of escaping. At this moment, he finally revealed his true strength, no longer hiding anything. Pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger, this young man is pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. This time, we have been completely fooled. One of the wind chaser bandits could not help but cry out as he looked at Xia Ping in fear. Damn it, this spoiled brat is actually an expert. He has definitely reached the martial master realm. Damn it, he purposely pretended that he was no match for us, and pretended that we had captured him. Actually, he wanted to use this opportunity to find our lair. This is too despicable. What's there to be afraid of? No matter how strong he is just one person. 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. I don't believe that this young man has 3 heads and 6 arms. Everyone, attack together. In a few breaths' time, we will beat the crap out of him. That's right, a mere spoiled brat is nothing to be afraid of. This is the lair of the wind chaser bandits. He has no right to behave atrociously here. Many of the wind chaser bandits began to shout. As long as they worked together, killing Xia Ping would be a piece of cake. I said, all of you will die today. All of you will die. No one will be able to save you. Chapter 446. Rumble. At this moment, the flames on Xia Ping's body immediately burst out. His whole body was like a man on fire, burning in the air, and the surrounding temperature rose sharply. The surrounding wind-chasing bandits were all shocked, feeling the hot temperature, as if they were in a furnace, as if their bodies would be incinerated by the flames if they got a little closer. Damn, what kind of qigong is this? How can it be so terrifying? We can't let him continue, otherwise we will die. Attack, attack together, kill this kid in an instant. Many wind-chasing bandits shouted one after another. They instantly operated their qigong, astral wind technique. The surrounding airflow surged crazily, completely under their control. They all cultivated the same cultivation method. After reaching the martial master realm, they could control the airflow at will, so their speed was extremely fast, coming and going like the wind, and their attack power was strong. Even because they all cultivated the same cultivation method, when they gathered together, it was like a tacit understanding. Dozens of people joined hands, the thread of unimaginable terror. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this moment, dozens of wind-chasing bandits attacked at the same time, condensing qi into a blade. The surrounding air vibrated, true essence condensed, actually condensed into a piece of wind blade. Kill! A wind-chasing bandit shouted angrily. Dozens of hundreds of wind blades burst out at the same time, cutting the air, vibrating at high frequency, attacking Xia Ping's body, wanting to tear his body into pieces. The power of such wind blades was extremely terrifying, equivalent to a treasure sword that could cut iron like mud. Bombarding on steel, it could easily cut in half, indestructible. Dark North Body Protection Technique. Xia Ping operated the technique in his body, took a step forward, his hands immediately set up a void circle. Immediately a transparent energy shield instantly surrounded his body, tightly. Bang bang bang. In a flash, hundreds of wind blades attacked at the same time, fiercely bombarding the energy shield, madly cutting, trying to cut the energy shield into countless pieces. But the energy shield was flowing like water, constantly weakening the energy of these wind blades. No matter how these wind-chasing bandits urged true essence, they could not break through. Recoil. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a cold light, his hands turned into a circle, and a palm shot. The Dark North Body Protection Technique in the body ran, as if there was a kunpeng hidden in it. This qigong circulation route map, the faint light of true essence, faintly exudes a mysterious aura. Reach the third level of the Dark North Body Defense Art. This technique has become more powerful. Buzz. At this moment, the energy ring covering Xia Ping's body produced a strange vibration. They had thought that this brat was a student and had a conscience. Perhaps he would have some sympathy for them. As long as he said some bitter words, he would be able to live. At the very least, he would have hesitated in his heart. This would give them a chance to escape. After all, some students with a sense of justice would do that. But who would have thought that this bastard was cold-blooded and heartless? He didn't even intend to listen to them and just killed the bald man with a slap. It was clean and neat. He was even more vicious than them. One could totally imagine that the brainless look he had in Western Wilderness City was definitely an act. This kind of acting was enough to win the title of Best Actor. What does it have to do with me? Xia Ping looked at the ashes on the ground and said, I don't care what grievances you have. I just accepted a mission to kill you. That's all. If you have grievances and are unhappy, go complain to Hades. That's his job. This bald man had a tragic life and died unjustly. But were those who were killed by the Windchaser bandits wronged? Were they worthy of sympathy? Just because he had a pitiful life, everything he did was right and everything he said was right. What a joke. How could there be such logic in this world? He couldn't be bothered with who was right and who was wrong. Those who blocked his path should all die. That was all. This bastard.